Stars. Now you got to do it.
Hey, let's go.
Guns, kid. It's fucking Saturday. Yeah. Got football. We're fucking living the dream right now, kid. How you feeling?
I'm great, man. I'm great. Feeling strong. Fucking just came from the gym. Literally got here right at 2:30. Fucking timed it up perfect. Never late.
Let's go.
Cut it
always.
Close. Never late.
Always. Never late. I'm always late. But welcome, Hotheads, Dreamers, Sixers.
Yeah, welcome. But yeah, Zach responded to the late call out, was ready to go. The link, everything was ready. Said I was expecting to come in and you not be here. You were here, ready.
No, I was up an hour early today. Even Christy and I went out to dinner last night for the first time in some weeks, and we've been like traveling so much and shit. So we finally took some time for each other, and we got a little too smashed. We both had like 3 mojitos. Like the bartender, like we sat at the bar. So the bartender.
I was sitting at the bar.
Yeah, I said the same thing to Christy. I was like, this is different. I was like, sitting next to you, we can kind of just enjoy the space. It doesn't feel like we're on a fucking interview. It's like we're just kind of like enjoying each other's presence. I can get nice and intimate and close with you, like sitting right next to you on the bar. You know, I like it. I like the bar. My dad likes the bar too. I get it from him. So anyway, I like sitting too. Sitting's good. I think if it's a nice restaurant.
Bar better.
Yeah, but I like the bar better too. Me too.
I think the only reason why the sitting down is nice is like having the waiter and like usually like if the bartender gets mad busy, then sitting at the bar could suck if you like need a side of fucking ranch or some shit.
100%.
And he's like fucking tapped out, you know, in the weeds, making 40 drinks for table 9, you know, like that shit happens. But for the most part, if you go to the bar when it's not that busy, like I'm thinking for the first game, like after we record, I might just shoot over to the bar and just get a drink and get out of the house for a little bit, you know?
That's nice. Yeah. So, I'm still working on my coffee. It's only 11:30 in the morning here. So, man. But welcome, Hotheads, Dreamers, Sixers. We got a nice slate for you guys. We're going to talk about the NFL divisional round, obviously. Maybe we'll talk into some NBA All-Star voting and kind of what that's looking like. NBA is kind of, we can have a conversation a little bit. Also, I want to bring up to you, John, talk about a little bit about why you feel like the NBA is just like a dying and a dead plant at this point, and what the things that you're seeing maybe from an issues perspective. Side question though. I don't know if you can hear. Can you hear any of the music in the background by any chance?
I can hear the background music.
Okay, I can't hear it at all. So every now and then I'm going to change it up, but I can't hear it on my side at all. So
I think there's an issue with your audio or something in your settings.
Missing with my audio, because
you couldn't hear me at first either.
Right. Something's messing up with like my speaker system, I think, because of the way I entered it, and I put the speaker on my microphone, so that has jumbled up everything now, I think. But all good. As long as the fans can hear it, I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, they could hear it. I hope that means they could hear it. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Good. That's good. Then I think we're good. But let's start with the slate. You want to start with the slate to kick it off?
Yeah, well, whatever you want. I was going to say the NBA because you had that like question. You said there's just whatever.
Let's do it. I definitely was curious because I've been hearing some people talk about this, bro, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Like, obviously, the NBA has a problem right now with all-star representation. I feel like in one spot, the product itself, in terms of being a watered-down product. I think some of those are more of the low-hanging fruit comments in regards to why the NBA is kind of messing up. But we'd love to just leave it for you and hear what your thoughts are in regards to kind of this whole thing with the NBA and why they really don't seem to be gripping the fans during the regular season at all.
All right, so funny transition. I actually left my fan on. Is it like bothersome? Should I turn it off?
Not at all.
Okay, all right. So I do think a lot of it falls on the players. I think a lot of guys are there to just cash checks. If you're on a bad team, I feel like people aren't motivated to play hard. Like, it's just like everybody is maybe a contract year, things like that. But for the most part, like for the Sixers example, I live in the Pennsylvania, Philadelphia area. What are these, like, why is Maxey motivated to get back and play sooner when Embiid never plays? And when Paul George, like they're a textbook example of like, they have talent, but like, all right, we're already behind in the standings. Might as well punt this year and try to get a good lottery pick. And even the lottery system, which is designed so people don't tank, people don't care. They're still going to tank. And it's crazy. And like, I don't know, it's not competitive. Like the league itself for a long time now, I think it really started when the Cavs played the Warriors in the finals. And I had an old post back in the day, and it was like, it was something like, oh, the Cavs just beat the Warriors in the finals. I want to preview next year's finals, Cavs, Warriors. You know what I mean? Like, it was like a system of time where every year was the same teams, and now, like, before the season starts, you could probably whittle it down to 4 or 5 teams who have a chance. And
LeBron made 9 finals straight, right? Wasn't it like something like that?
Exactly, something crazy like that. You know, the Warriors were in it 3 or 4 years in a row. Obviously going on now, like, right now we have kind of an era. Last year was a great anomaly. The Celtics obviously are a team that's been on the top for a while, but they hadn't won since 2009. And obviously the Mavericks came out of nowhere. So hopefully we get another year like that. Minnesota came out.
A nice step with Ant. Yeah, for sure.
They even took a step back immediately. Almost they look a lot like, you know, they took a hit this year. Obviously the Towns and Randall trade, we talked about a ton, how that didn't make sense for them. But yeah, just getting into it, I think that the NBA is just, like I said, I think they have a parity problem, and I think they have a player problem where they make so much money. Like, they're not money seems to be the motivator over winning for most players in the NBA.
You also talked about, I just want to go back to one point that you said, John, before you go on, like the punting thing. You talk about punting seasons. I also see the teams punting games. So, like, if you're in the third quarter and, like, you're losing by 25 and you know you have a back-to-back or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah.
These teams, because there's 82 games and it's not like an NFL season where there's only 18 games, every game means the most. It's not like that. Literally half your season could in theory mean nothing. And so I think the punting games thing, just when you talk about punting, like the punting games thing is also a fucking problem, I think.
I think, like, and it's like, to your point, it's like they don't even care about seeding for a lot of it. Like, they'd rather go in healthy as a 5 seed than go in, you know, sluggish or tired, exhausted, whatever word you want to use, as a 2 seed. Like, they don't even care about seeding a lot of these teams now. They just want to get to the playoffs, and then they'll go from there. Like, we've seen the Lakers, I think, make a run from like an 8 seed. Now we have this extension of play-in teams, 20 out of 30 teams or whatever make the playoffs. Crazy. Now.
I mean, that to me is like, that's part of the watering down, but the main thing is like the parity you spoke about. Like, there really is no alpha team in a sense anymore. So, like, I feel like the league has always leaned on the idea that, like, we have the Lakers and Kobe and Shaq, and then we have the Spurs with Tim Duncan and the boys and Popovich, and then we have, like, these teams. I feel like is actually good for the NBA when you have these juggernaut teams, the Warriors, the Cavaliers when it was like chalk, like you said, like every year the Cavaliers and the Warriors were playing like 4 years straight, whatever it was in those finals. I feel like the NBA, when it doesn't have that, needs all-star representation, or it's just literally like what we have right now, which is a dead product. Like, the all-stars in our league right now are not really guys that go on podcasts. They're not really guys that talk. They don't do commercials. Jokic is not out there. Luka's not out there. Ant and Tatum are probably the most out there, I would say, of the superstardom and doing commercials and stuff like that. But still, they're still not even close to being the cachet and the gravitas of a LeBron or Steph or KD or these guys. Like, I feel like when the team, like even OKC's team, when they had Harden and Westbrook and they were making the playoffs every year, was a young gun team and they were cool. Like, they had a bunch of cool players on their team. Like, I feel like, first of all, like you said, the skills are down. The water product is down. Everyone's shooting threes, chucking threes. There's no specialists. There's no Bruce Bowens on teams anymore. There's no, like, your specialist that you can, like, lean into as a fan, and, like, Sean Elliott or whatever the fuck it might be. Like, it's all, like, either you shoot threes and you're the same player as this guy, or, like, you don't make the league.
Yeah, the analytics of the 3-point shot versus the 2-point shot has really become problematic. Of everyone chucking threes, it's not fun to watch. Like, don't get me wrong, a nice clutch jump shot, what Steph did in the Olympics, when you start going off like that, but just like swinging the ball around, like, and, you know, everyone running off screens to shoot corner threes, like, it's not exciting, fun basketball. The, like, run and gun, like, alley oops in transition, like the fast break game. Like, no teams really run anymore, and that also flows into that, like, you don't want to be exhausted, you know, that kind of thing. And it's like nobody has deep benches anymore. Like,
and they fast bake for threes, John. They fast break for threes. Yeah. That's the other thing.
Used to get like benched in like CYO or JV when you do that shit.
Yeah, remember the famous Coach Carter scene by Cruz?
Yeah. Timo Cruz,
Cruz, where he steps behind the line, looks at the coach after he bangs the three, because it's the wrong play. Every fan that's watching that scene is like, okay, you're going against the coach right now by fucking doing this right now, by pulling up for 3 in transition. And now it's like, if you don't pull up for 3 in transition, you're getting benched.
Yeah. And I'd rather see like a crazy dunk or something like that. I mean, like, I think you have a point with like the players. Like, I almost am on the reverse side of it too, where like too many people are doing fucking podcasts. Like, you know what I mean? It's it goes to like back to like the not caring about winning thing. It's about building your brand over winning. Like, being a star is about what you do off the court more than what you do on it. And I don't know, the NBA, I don't have maybe a ton of ideas. I feel like they're throwing all this shit at the wall, the play-in, the in-season tournament, all this shit, trying to hope something sparks. But at the end of the day, I think they need to like get back to rivalries and people hating each other. Like, even like the Lakers, Kobe, and the Celtics in 2009, like with Paul Pierce, like that was like brutal physical basketball. Like, you know, the Pistons and the Lakers hated each other. Like, this is, I'm not saying you have to go back to Larry Bird and Magic Johnson where there's like racist fans and shit like that.
No.
I mean, like, but that does happen in like the WNBA now. Like, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is a bigger rivalry than anything that the NBA has right now, in my opinion.
I mean, it's crazy to think. It's like such a limb to go on, but I really think you're
a more
right.
talked about rivalry than any NBA rivalry right now.
That's like a social media race baiting type of thing as well, in a sense. So it has some more gravitas to it because of the way the media portrays the two of them and the way they fuck with Caitlyn and the way they kind of prop Angel, and they don't want to give Caitlin's a way better basketball player than Angel Reese. Like, it's it's not even close. But I mean, but the point being is just like, that's, people are talking about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese more than they're talking about Jason Tatum and Jokic. You know what I mean? Or like even Halliburton versus Brunson during the regular season, even off their series last year, which was testy. It was like, it's like they're friends again when they do the wrestling thing, when they like fake, like, you know what I mean? When they
I don't know any two players in the NBA right now who hate each other.
I'm trying to think.
I know Gobert, like, nobody likes, like, you know, there's guys that are like villains, like Dylan Brooks, like, you know, but there's no one that's like an equal rivalry where they're both really good players who hate each other and don't like each other, at least on the court. Like, I'm not even saying.
The closest we had for a while was LeBron and Steph, but now they're like. But
and like, even now, it's never like heated. You know what I mean? Like, that was never.
Like,
it was like
boy.
competitive rivalry, like, like, but no one was like pushing and shoving. Like,
Draymond, maybe Draymond.
There's
like,
but again, that's a guy who's a villain, like hated by everyone he kind of plays against. There's no like, I guess Draymond and Gobert is like the closest. Like,
that's
you know,
a good one. Draymond and Towns maybe for a little while.
Again. None of these are like
that Draymond considers soft is a good one.
Yeah, but nobody jumps off the page. Like, Draymond's not a great enough player to be like, to bring that gravitas to it either. Like, you know, like I would love for Jason Tatum and fucking Luka Doncic to get in a fight. You know what I mean? Like, I would love for Nikola Jokic and Gilgeous-Alexander to get into a
Embiid.
Yeah, Embiid.
That's probably one of the biggest rivalries, and they don't even give a shit about each other. But
Embiid doesn't even play in Denver. Every time there's a game,
he doesn't play in Denver. He hasn't played Denver in 2 years.
He doesn't play enough to be a rival to anyone. You know, it's tough. Like I said, I think it's on the players. Like, obviously, they got to cut the season. They got to cut the season, bro. The games, they got to make it more valuable. Well, I mean, not baseball. Like, it comes down to the last game all the time. It's a 162 game season. I think baseball is in a better spot than it's been in years, and it's twice as long. So I don't know if it's just the length of the season, but guys got to play. Like, it's like the length of the season only is doing this because guys are like, oh, I only need to play 60 games. Like, well, a couple things with baseball. Baseball has a much better. So, like, baseball's lower roster, like the guys on the bottom, like the half and the bottom part of the roster, like, people think everyone in baseball makes hundreds of millions of dollars. That's actually basketball. Everyone on the bench, everyone's getting paid, guaranteed. There's only 12 to 15 guys on a team or whatever. Yeah. Exactly. And everyone's multi-millionaire at this point. Yeah. The league minimum is like 5 million. Exactly. So it's like fucking broken. At least in baseball, if, like, let's say, for example, I'll just take my own team because I'm a Yankee fan. Like, last year when Oswald Peraza came up and was playing, he's playing on hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's not playing for millions of dollars. He was playing meaningful baseball for us in August and September. We had injuries, all this, whatever. But that's a small example of, like,
yes, the top guys, Judge, Soto, these guys are going to get paid astronomical numbers. Yes.
Yeah.
But in baseball, there still is like a thing where you have to earn your spot, where you're not getting paid the most money. You're still like just got called up maybe, or like there's
this
still
is what I'm
fluctuation
talking about.
in baseball.
It's what I'm talking about with the NBA. Like, no one has a deep bench anymore. There's no guys like fighting for their spots. It's like everyone's solidified. In baseball, obviously, there's guys who get called up for 10 days. There's pitchers who make their first start ever in spot start because somebody gets a blister, and they have, people have to come up and step up and show their worth.
A lot
and
more
like
pressurized moments for them to key in on that moment, for them to stay with the roster so they can start a career for
and
themselves.
let's say you are a guy trying to like make a career in the NBA and you're on a bad team. Nobody's fucking watching. I guess you could say like NBA executives are and this and that, but like nobody's fucking watching the Pistons play the Wizards. I don't give a fuck. Unless you're a hardcore Detroit Piston, Washington Wizards fan, or a degenerate gambler, you are not watching that game. No, like it is zero appeal. I would rather watch, and especially in the age of now where like us sports fans are diehard sports fans, but at the same time, there is so much to fucking watch. Even as a sports fan, I could watch a documentary about the fucking Pistons from 2004. I'd rather watch that than a live game of the fucking Magic throwing up bricks with fucking Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma. You know what I mean? Like,
you mean the Wizards? You mean the Wizards, not the Magic?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Magic are a decent team. That's the only reason I interrupt.
I like Paulo Banchero. They got some guys.
Wagner. Wagner.
Yeah. Those Michigan German guys. But I mean the NBA is in a tough spot right now. There's no like blatant solutions, but let's get on to the king of the sports right now is football. Everybody knows it.
Hell yeah,
we can lock in on that.
Fuck yeah, let's do it. So let's start with today's games.
Before we get into this, I want to shout out. Great call, Rams money line last week. That was a great bet. Shout out. Gave the Sixers a great pick. So me and Zach went back and forth via text message about why the Rams would get a lift from the Fires, but the Chargers maybe wouldn't. And what Zach doesn't know is I actually agree with him that it probably would boost the Rams over the Chargers. But what I disagree with is that there's like any sort of logical reasons of how you can quantify it. All you had to say was it just happens like that sometimes. For a city, sometimes one team gets a bigger boost than another team.
But with if I say it just happens sometimes, I am leaving myself on the plank a little bit for you to be like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, no, because like I said, it's like the point of the take is like it's based in like the coaches using it as fuel in the locker room.
It's like a horrible moment. There's people that have died. It's a natural disaster. The coach needs to lean into this.
Players from both teams live in LA, are potentially affected, have no people who are affected. Not just the players, but the guys who work in the locker room, who fucking wash the fucking uniforms and make the meals. They're all impacted, this and that. So it's like that's part of the take I like. But it's okay to sometimes be like, I don't know why, but the Rams are going to get a bigger lift than the Chargers are, and like versus the Saints and the Bucks, and because you can't be like, because you're like the Chargers are on the road, but the Saints got a lift when they were on the road, and you're like, a shooting is different than Fires. It's all like, now what are we talking about? If you were just like
that, my justifications were a little out of the wazoo, but just to bring it full circle, the main thing that I felt like was the difference was the home game being moved and them being the home team. That to me, that combined with LA Rams being the more historical franchise in LA, to me made it more of an onus on them. But I will concede that my justification around away versus home is a bunch of malarkey, because it doesn't add when you think about the shooting that happened in New Orleans and you think about the New Orleans Saints playing that next week. And I had said on this podcast, they're going to play hard, they're going to cover, and they're going to play for that shooting, even on the road, especially after Rizzy's speech in the media and all this shit. They were leaning into it. That's how you get a locker room going. It always happens. Natural disaster, the next game, that team's going to cover or win. Just put it in the books. Especially if there's
tragedy. It's not always like that was a natural.
Yeah, whatever you want to call the tragedy. Pick
your
tragedy. It's going to happen the next game. The coach is going to lean into it. You're going to play for the city, and it's just going to happen. Sometimes it's the worst thing ever, where it's like Hurricane Katrina and like millions of people are displaced and killed, and it's horrible. And then you end up winning a Super Bowl. Go figure. So like, like this stuff has happened over the course of our history. It happened with the Mets and the Yankees in 01. Yankees ended up making it to the World Series. I felt like their team was kind of like not World Series level, even though they had made it the previous years. That was their weakest roster, and it kind of...
I don't know. I think they were a better roster than the Diamondbacks, but whatever. We're getting in the weeds with it.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it all up, just the Chargers versus the Rams, if you were just like, I think the Rams are going to lift and the Chargers won't, like, I get it. And then also, I get your point of on the road because you're getting the game moved, but also, like, the difference is the Texans were sleeping at home, playing at home. At the end of the day, the Vikings still had to fucking go to Arizona and play in a different stadium. And, they didn't have the advantage of sleeping in their own beds. Like, they didn't have to go all the way to LA. And the Rams also had to travel. Like, but they didn't have to travel as far, whatever. Like, but the Vikings still had to play in, a different area code and had to travel.
Sure. And they gave right to reserve the ticket sales for Arizona. The whole bottom bowl was essentially offered to a lot of the Rams constituents because of the displacement of the game. So, like, there was a lot of like tickets. I believe there was a lot of organizing between ticket people and like season tickets. But honestly, Vikings fans, they showed out. Like, they were there for sure. Like, as you said, they would be.
There's a lot of Vikings fans who live in LA. There's a lot of fans of every team who live in LA. It's the biggest transplant city.
They travel.
Yeah, it's the biggest transplant city in the country. Because, like you said, the ticket thing, all they could do is monitor the location of where the tickets are purchased from via IP address. It's not like they could verify you're a Rams fan before you buy the ticket. They can't be like, show me a picture of you in your Rams jersey before you buy it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're a Vikings fan who lives in LA, which there are, I'm sure, thousands of, that want tickets who are probably like, shit, like, I would have went to LA, I'll go to Arizona, a fucking 4-hour drive or whatever it is, So,
and it's a playoff game for sure. So, but shouts to the Rams getting it done, making me look good. I really was on that pick. I really was super confident, and I'm glad exactly what I thought was going to happen happened. And it was two things. The pass rush. We talked about Verse all year. That's our boy on this podcast. We love us some Verse. He's unbelievable. Shouts to the other rookie on the other side. I always forget his name. He deserves more shine, but he's very good too. What's the other rookie's name? The other defensive line?
I'm drawing a blank, but
I can't remember. I don't know why, but he was great in that game too. They just have a really, really, like, it seems like they play on a string on that defense really well. They're fucking aggressive. And then Stafford, man, and like, at the end of the day, it's Sam Darnold. Like, it's Sam Darnold. Like, we like Sam Darnold. He beats a lot of bad teams this year. But this Minnesota team had the same Kirk Cousins from 2 years ago feel to it. Really good regular season, really good stats. They beat up on bad teams. And then the moment the game gets pressurized and you can kind of condense it down and you can get a good defensive coordinator in there to do some little bit of shake, whatever, this and that, and get him off his dial, that's it. And, I just felt like, and Daniel Jones was able to go to Minnesota 2 years ago and fucking win a playoff game. And he's horrible. So I just, Minnesota has had this problem of being a great regular season team. But when the moment gets, this pressurized moment, I don't know if you've been hearing some of the rumblings, which is insane to me, but McConnell has not been re-upped. They still are looking to get a deal done. They tried to get a deal done this past offseason. They couldn't get it done. He's probably looking for close to $20 million. A lot of people say he's only worth about the median, which is like the 12 to 15. I would say he's one of the better coaches in the league. In terms of this coaching carousel of the people that are available, talk about Glenn from Detroit, talk about Ben Johnson from Detroit. Both those guys people say are going to get head coaching jobs. Vrabel just signed in the Pats. A lot of different head coaching jobs that are open, but, I don't know. Something about, I feel like O'Connell being a guy and making Sam Darnold a fucking relevant player this year should have a lot more weight to it than just the idea that, like, he didn't get it done in the playoffs with a 14-win team. Like, I get that.
No, yeah. I mean, I think he's a great coach. I think he's safe. I mean, it is tough, the hand they were dealt. And at the end of the day, like, Sam Darnold, I do think he made himself a ton of money this year. I do think he played very, very well. But I do think he's limited. And I also think, like, as good of a coach as Kevin O'Connell is, I think it's O'Connell.
That's right, yeah.
Sean McVay is a better coach. And Sean McVay is the one who gave Kevin O'Connell his game. He was a Ram, assistant coach, coordinator.
Ex-coach, yep.
Went, to Minnesota. And it's almost like he big brothered him a little bit in that matchup. He kind of knew what was coming. He kind of knew the limitations of Darnold. And McVay he didn't play hard for seeding. He kind of was just like, look, we're going to make the playoffs, and we know what we have here. And I think the Rams are a sneaky very good team. They have a established quarterback, established coach.
Super Bowl champion.
They made a Super Bowl run as a champion. They made a Super Bowl run losing to the Patriots. Like, McVay knows what the fuck he's doing. I think he's as much as credit as he gets, I still think he's underrated. No one talks when they say like best coaches in the NFL. Like, I don't hear Sean McVay's name brought up enough. He's super young, first of all. He's one of the youngest head coaches ever when he started. He's like still like, we talk about like Nick Sirianni being a young head coach. I think like McVay is probably the same age, if not younger, and he already has a Super Bowl championship and been to a Super Bowl. Like he's a young football savant that has obviously done amazing things there. And I think it was kind of an out coaching matchup, an out quarterback matchup. And at the end of the day, defensively, the Rams showed up. I went into here to try to find out the other rookie quarterback.
Well, one thing I wanted to comment on, two things. One, the building of that roster, year over year. A lot of people said after they went for that Super Bowl that they were going to be in cap hell. What they did by pushing out contracts, the Gurley contract also that they were still dealing with on the back end there. Even when they traded for Stafford and kind of like went all in to win that Super Bowl, gave away all those picks. People were like, all right, you guys got your Super Bowl. Now you're going to be shit for the next 10 years because of all these contracts, their cap. Shouts to Les Snead. This guy finds talent everywhere. Who was Kyron Williams coming out? Who was Puka Nacua coming out? Nobody had these guys. There's just a few examples, but no one has these guys touted, and these guys become perennial players in the league, top 10 in their position. That's really the story here, is that Les Snead has done an unbelievable job. Even Verse fell in that drive. What was he, the 10th pick, the 9th pick, something like that?
He was 19th overall, and the guy on the other side is Braden Fisk, and they both went to Florida State, so they played together on opposite sides before. That's smart. Yeah, I definitely agree.
I mean, Les Snead needs a shout here, too, with the roster construction. I'm sure Sean McVay has a lot of influence in that roster construction now, of course. They work in tandem. That's how it has to be. You have to be on a string with your ownership, GM, and head coach. If that's not the case, your team will never win a Super Bowl. It's just that simple. And I think that... Go ahead, what were you saying?
To speak to your point, their 4 leaders in sacks this year were all drafted in the past 2 drafts. Braden Fisk, Jared Verse, Kobe Turner, and Byron Young were all drafted over the last 2 years.
Byron Young's another guy, another athletic guy that just, for maybe some teams, he would come off as being that guy that played on Arizona who came to the Giants. What's his name? I'm losing it. He's like one of those kind of like hybrid linebacker. What's his name?
Jeffrey Simmons?
Simmons. Yeah, not Jeffrey. Not Jeffrey. That's from Tennessee. The other Simmons.
Yeah, Simmons. Yeah, whatever his
first name, but that's the right last name. Anyway, Simmons, where he couldn't really find a place on the field. He's one of these athletic guys. Byron Young was one of those guys kind of coming out, but they have turned him into a perennial pass rusher, a guy that can really play downhill. Again, they're a really sneaky team. I've said this about the Rams. I like Stafford as just being a guy that can control the offense. Obviously, he can get loose with the ball sometimes and get into his interception woes, but they're healthy.
Isaiah Simmons, he stinks. I really when I saw his first name, I was really didn't even remember him. I remember
that's what I'm saying.
Like when I knew he was like Simmons from Clemson, and then I saw Isaiah, and I was like, damn, I really forgot completely his first name. It didn't even ring a bell when I saw Isaiah. That's how disappointing he's been.
Talent. He was a first round pick too, right?
He was Arizona. 8th overall, if I'm not mistaken.
He was a lottery pick for them. Yeah. And people thought he would be this athletic fucking guy, he could do a lot of things. But again, it comes down to the coaching. It goes back to that same shit. They didn't really have a place for him on Arizona. That team was in shambles. I don't even think they had Gannon at the time when they drafted him. It was a different coach. I forget who it was, but at that time, maybe it was Kingsbury, whatever. That guy's a fucking offensive guy. He has no idea what he's doing with that defensive player. So the guy got relegated. But shouts to McVay, shouts to Les Snead, shouts to the Rams. But let's get to the matchups.
It's not chronological, but we might as well start there.
We can do that, sure.
It's Rams, Eagles, obviously.
Let's do NFC and AFC, just to keep it like that.
Okay, so Rams, Eagles. I guess I'll just start it off with who you got.
Yeah, I think the Eagles will win the game. I think the Rams cover. I think that the Eagles' offense last week was awful. I thought that the Packers did everything they could to lose the game. If you were watching that game as a Packers fan, you probably wanted to kill yourself afterwards. Shouts to my boy Alex Canalucci, who's a diehard fan. I even bought him an ownership thing. He's one of the part owners of the Green Bay Packers actually now. I got him as a gift. So, after speaking to him about the game, he was very upset. It just felt like the whole game, the Eagles were saying, please beat us. And the Packers were like, Jordan Love was like, no, I don't want to. And Hurts is like, pretty please. It was just such ugly football by both quarterbacks for about 3/4 of that game. The the Eagles like they usually do. They do enough. I didn't even think Barkley got off that much in that game like he could have. They kind of went away from the run game from that perspective. He really, he didn't have 100 yards.
If he busted that long one at the end when he slid.
Yeah, his pulse, that's true. Yeah, he slid on that one, right? That's the one at the end of the game.
That's another 70 yards and a touchdown if he runs it in.
Sorry, Rob. Our boy Rob would have made $500 on that run, by the way, if he had scored a touchdown. I think a bunch of people across the country were like, how the fuck is anytime touchdown Saquon not hit?
But Saquon's not the type of guy to go for that. He knows it's getting him over with the first down. He can pull a hamstring.
That's what he said to AJ. I think they were walking off the field. People caught that on a mic up. They were like, he's like, why didn't you score? He's like, the game was over, dummy. Like,
what if he pulls a hamstring, like right when he's about to score? Like then he's like the worst idiot ever, So Saquon's a winner. I applaud that move. But my point being is like he still could have, like, technically he could have gotten off with a big stat game. It was just kind of like, all right, the game was over. But that's how the Eagles do. Like they get those big runs at the end of the game when you're out of it. Obviously, the Eagles notorious slow starters, which they really did slow start again. They just had the fumble on the opening kickoff and got the touchdown to Dotson. But after that, they had 3 points the rest of the first half. It was 10-3 going into halftime when they were like winning the turnover battle by 2, dominating time of possession, and still was a 7-point game at halftime.
Third quarter was a 7-point game, John.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was like they kept it way closer than they should have. Obviously, injuries. At the end of the day, the Packers lost Christian Watson in the final week of the season. Jaden Reed goes down. 2 offensive linemen go down. There's Romeo Doubs goes down. There's a play in the game, I don't know if you remember, where it was a 4th down, and they're throwing to, God bless his heart, whoever it was in the game, the 5th string wide receiver
Heath,
or whatever.
Heath, I think it was that guy.
He had an easy chance to get his feet down if he's an established, seasoned receiver. Any decent receiver gets their feet down there, 4th down converts, but he just is inexperienced and didn't get
know where he is on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he just caught it and like one of his feet came down out of bounds, like he's still in college. Yeah, Heath, exactly. Great pull. But that's like the type of stuff when everyone's hurt. Like, what do you want Jordan Love to do? Like, it's 4th down. He got it where it needed to be, and he just couldn't get his fucking feet down.
They abandoned the run a little bit on Jacobs.
I mean, a little bit, especially when he had that crazy run. He's obviously out there playing his heart out. I think it was Brady on the call talking about how, Jacobs and Reed, these are the guys playing to fucking win. You could see them. These are the guys who give you energy in these moments. Like, it's not the fucking X's and O's, just the Jimmys and the Joes shit. Like you need effort, like, to win when you don't have the superior roster
in the playoffs,
especially when you don't have the better roster. You need guys to elevate their game and outwork and outfight and outheart.
And you need to be sourcing your hot hands as a quarterback and as an offensive mind. Like, when you're the offensive coordinator, a big point of being the offensive coordinator is seeing who's feeling good today, who's catching the ball.
Dobbs getting hurt obviously was bad. Jaden Reed was bringing something to the Packers that game, in the return game, in the passing game, in the emotional game, and him going down, I think, was a bad hit. But also, not to take away from the Eagles. The Eagles are a fucking good team. Their offensive line is so good, and as much as I want to pick the Rams, the Rams' strength being that defensive line we just talked about, that young D line, the counterpart is the Eagles' offensive line. Lane Johnson, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Mekhi Becton, Jordan Mailata. That is a fucking squadron. And barring one of those guys going down and them needing to play Steen or Fred Jackson, or Fred Thomas, whatever the fuck his name is, the backup tackle who swings around for whoever gets hurt over there. Those guys are decent backups too, but as long as that core is in there, it's going to be great to watch those guys go at it head to head.
It's a great game. It's one of those games where it's like the front four's got to win. They can't commit blitzes. Otherwise, I feel like the pass catchers on the Eagles are too talented. You saw what happened with Goddard, even on a short pass. Fucking broke 3 tackles for a tud. They have guys that are good yak guys. Even if you get Saquon on a swing out, you get A.J. Brown the ball in stride. These are Goddard. The only guy on the offense I would say that's not really like a broken tackle guy. He's more like a hit him in stride. He'll make moves is Devontae Smith. But he's sneaky tough. He's good
after the catch on like those quick screens, just get a good amount of yards. Maybe not necessarily run anybody over or like juke anybody out, but just efficient. And also, I think the big factor in this game is the weather. Obviously a California team, it's going to snow, it's going to be cold, maybe not like icy cold, but it's going to be in the 20s. and it's going to be snowing.
Stafford's
And
in Detroit. He'll be ready.
But it's been long enough in LA where it's not the same
their
anymore.
Super Bowl run. You think about the games that they played, right? So they had a home game, and then they played in Tampa, which was beautiful weather. I remember the Brady game. So like you even think about their run. Then they played in the Dome, I think, for the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. That was a Dome game.
Well,
so.
Super Bowls you almost always
exactly.
warm weather.
I'm missing one game that they played in that run. I don't know where it was. I'm trying to think. They played the Bucks.
I can figure it out.
Yeah, I got to think about it first because I'm trying to think about the quarterbacks that they beat. That's the thing that's queuing me in. So Brady was one for sure. Trying to think. It's tough. They beat the Bengals, so they beat Burrow in the Super Bowl. You'll grab it.
No, I got you right here. They beat the Patriots. Or hang on. No, I'm on the wrong. Hang on, I'm right here.
Their run to the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at it right
19?
now. Yeah, they beat Burrow in the Super Bowl. It was 2021. They beat Burrow in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then they beat Tampa in Tampa on the game-winning throw by Tuck.
They beat the Niners at home.
The Niners, Santa Clara, another beautiful weather team.
Well, they were at home. They were at home, so it was in.
And they were at home in the Dome. Okay,
yeah.
so go back before that even. Were they the division winner? So that was their first game? It was just the Niners?
Yeah, they beat the Cardinals at home, the Bucks on the road, the 49ers at home, and then the Super Bowl, was obviously. I can't find out where it is. But
you think about their so there you go.
I think the Super Bowl was even in LA, if I'm not mistaken.
It was. It was the home Super Bowl in SoFi. That's right.
It was in SoFi. Yeah.
Yep. You're right. 100%. So, I feel like they haven't had that run yet. Different team. To be clear, different team. So I don't want to put it all there, but you think about guys like Cup.
No, I get what you're saying. They haven't proven they can win in cold weather in the playoffs.
They can win in the cold. Yeah.
So, no, that's true. And like I said, Stafford played in the NFC North for a long time, but you get older, you go to a warmer weather. Like he's been there long enough that it's he's not used to those cold conditions, and that whole team. We talk about how there's a lot of young guys on that team who aren't used to playing these cold weather playoff games. There's a lot of young guys on Philly too, to be fair, but they've been playing in cold weather in the Link in Philly. The fans are going to be loud. They're going to be crazy. Not a lot of LA Rams fans are making it to Philadelphia in the snow. I'll tell you that right now.
For sure. And I think the other side of this also, especially after seeing those videos of that woman getting called cunt all game, and that was crazy, excuse my language, and just that was fucking nuts. The Philly fans are abusive.
Did you see the other side of that, though?
The guy ended up he ended up losing his job, I heard, and he's never allowed to go to the game again.
The Packers fan guy set up a GoFundMe to be like, oh, we're going to go into the belly of the beast, we're going to go, and we'll be loud and cheer for the Packers, this and that, and it's not like a GoFundMe to get from Wisconsin to Pennsylvania to go to the game. They're
it's just
Pennsylvania
to drink beer or something.
So Pennsylvania Packers fans, who drove an hour to the game or whatever.
What is wrong with Pennsylvania, bro? Where do you live?
Just saying, a GoFundMe to go to the game is super fucking lame. GoFundMe is for if your dog needs surgery,
there's
or your fucking kid
and you lost all your shit.
Or your kid has cancer or some shit, or
you're part of the LA fires or something.
A family member suddenly dies, you got to pay for a funeral. A GoFundMe shouldn't be for fucking a bro to go to a game. So I'm less on that guy's side now. Whatever. The woman didn't deserve to be treated like that.
Right.
Philly fans are scumbags. Everybody.
And anyone that's
it.
standing by there, but in that radius, that didn't say anything to that guy is also a piece of shit. Because if I was standing there, or you were standing there, or anybody seeing a woman getting called a cunt like that, the way that guy was, I'd be surprised if someone didn't look and be like, yo, bro, can you give it a rest? At least
I don't know. I've been involved in some stadium altercations myself,
I know you
to
have.
Be fair.
Yeah, it's true.
If he put hands on a woman, don't get me wrong, I'll fucking definitely intervene. But I'm also
fighting words.
As I've got, maybe for her boyfriend, whatever, maybe he should have tried to step up instead of film it. But that guy's a little bit of a douchebag. But my point being is, words for me, for the most part, is mind your business. You know what I mean? If you're not saying it to my girlfriend or my sister or my friend, someone I'm with, I'm probably minding my own business. If he were to put hands on her, touch her, push her, grab her in any sort of way.
For the guy, he was like he was a row back and about 4 seats over, it looked like 3 or 4 seats over. It's the guy.
I think it was almost like a direct diagonal.
Check it out again. I think there were at least 2 guys between them in that back row between where he was leaning. So
I think he was like row 21, seat 4. She was row 20, seat 5. I think it was like a direct diagonal. I don't think he was reaching across like multiple people. But either way,
like 2 or 3 seats. But even still, there was someone between them. There were 2 guys between them. It looked like.
Nah, I don't think so. Maybe one. Maybe, like I said, one directly behind her for sure. Maybe one more. I don't think he was like going. That's a long way. But either way. He was an asshole. That guy's an asshole.
He's banned for life. Lost his job. That guy's life is over.
I don't think I've ever called a woman a cunt. Period. We might get this is YouTube. I don't know if you're even allowed to say that, but I don't think I've ever called a woman the C word ever. Yeah. I don't think I've ever.
If you want to die in this life, call someone from the East. Call a woman from the East Coast the C word. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like even an argument with my own girl, like it's just like a word that's real bad. It's almost like a race. Like it's almost like becomes like a racist word. It's like a bad one. Yeah. Like it's
like a race word for women.
I'm not like, and I get like Australians be like you cheeky cunt. Like there's different parts of the world.
Yeah, different. Australian and UK people, the way they use English is, they call a cigarette a fag. So it's like,
exactly.
All right.
Yeah. So I think the Rams are going to play tough, and the Eagles win a close game. Let's keep it moving.
Let's go to the other NFC matchup. That's tonight. We have the Washington Commanders going against the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions are chalk. Everyone has them going to the Super Bowl, especially after the way Philly played against Green Bay. A lot of people think the Lions are just going to roll. This game's weird. I'll be honest. You get these young pups in there that just have playing with house money, and you get fucking bad things can happen. And, it kind of has that Burrow, Cincinnati feel to it, where they have a nice young defense with some elder statesmen around like Bobby Wagner to help out the young guys. They have some good vets that we talked about all season on that offense to go with the young guys that have been there. Hotz has won a Super Bowl. He knows what it looks like when he won with Big Dick Foles. Hotz has been around. You talk about guys like Eckler even have played in the playoffs before. He's going to be healthy. Terry's a veteran. There's guys to lean on in this equation of trying to figure out what you're supposed to be doing as a rookie quarterback. And Jaden Daniels is a cool customer, man. So I don't know. It's a weird game. I think the coaching will be a big factor here. If Dan Quinn can figure out a way to outcoach, what's it called? Psychopath over there in Detroit?
Dan Campbell. Dan versus Campbell.
Thank you. It's going to get weird. But again, if Detroit pounces on them early and forces Jane Daniels into a thrower and they can't run the ball, they really can't rely on the run at all, and it's just like a free reign and a free pass rush for Zadarius Smith and Zaloni, who look great. These guys to just be able to get home, then it'll be a long day maybe for the Commanders. But if the Commanders can stay, early, I think early is the key. First quarter.
I think I want to shout out your first point because I want to shout out Adam Peters for the Commanders, and I'm sure it's in collaboration with Dan Quinn. But the guys that they brought in this offseason, Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, Tyler Biotish, Dorrance Armstrong, Dante Fowler, all contributing.
Coaches.
Marshawn Lattimore, these guys contributing, and playing well and playing hard. And I know Marshawn Lattimore's been eating a little shit from Mike Evans,
Everyone eats shit from Mike Evans.
And A.J. Brown, but there were also plays in that game where he broke up passes where A.J. Brown on big plays. There were plays in the game where Mike Evans was guarded, and they won those games. Both of those games where A.J. Brown ate, and Mike Evans ate. Guess what? They won because it's like what they used to talk about with Shaq. You can't stop them. You can only hope to contain them. And right. Marshawn Lattimore is containing those guys versus when it was St. Just and the other young kid.
Cameron Curl, maybe.
No, it was the other young kid. Shit. Oh, my God, it's going to kill me. He was a first-round draft. Emmanuel Forbes. When it was Emmanuel Forbes.
As soon as you said first-round pick, I was like, Forbes.
Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes. And
he's a nice player.
St. Just. Like, when those two were on both sides, you had trouble, Getting Marshawn Lattimore gives you at least hope to contain. Even though he's banged up right now, he's playing tough, And
he's
Adam
good to have
Peters
in the locker room. He's good to have watching film. He's good to have.
And then obviously you have the draft picks with Jaden Daniels. Like, this Commanders team is brand new. It's brand new. They're revamped. They have new ownership. This is new you're a Commanders fan.
All new coaches.
Exactly. It's a good time to be a Commanders fan right now. They're on the upward trajectory. All that being said, this team is still a year away, in my opinion, and I think this is the game. It comes to fruition where I think the Lions, barring some, I think for the Commanders to win, they'll need a special teams fumble recovery. They'll need a fucking random tipped ball, dropped pass pick. They'll need a little luck. If they get some lucky plays and they're a one-score game in the fourth quarter and Jaden Daniels has the ball, they have a shot. They need a drop on a fourth down Dan Campbell play. They're going to need some stuff like that to happen, some bounces to go their way. If the bounces go Detroit way, because both of these coaches are fourth down, go for it, motherfuckers. Both of these coaches are throw caution to the wind. We're not taking three. If it's 4th and 4 or less, we're going to go for it.
Especially Dan Quinn. I'm sure all week he's been telling his team, you better be ready to go 4 downs here because we got to keep up with them, and we expect them to score.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that defensively, Anzalone coming back has been huge for Detroit. Just getting people in the right spot, making sure that, no big blow-ups are happening because, this guy is in the A gap and this guy's also going to the A gap and the C gap is wide open for a long run for 15, 20 yards without contest. Like, having that guy, I was that guy, obviously, in high school. It's not the same fucking thing, but there was a great player on our defense. His name was Antoine McGill. We called him Bowie Miles. I literally took him and put him where he needed to go and told him what he needed to do every play based on the alignment. That happens up to the NFL level. Believe it or not, there are guys who need other people.
I watch it. You can see the middle linebacker smacking guys hit.
Who need other people to tell them where to be to efficiently run the defense. They need that coach on the field, especially in the playoffs.
For sure.
One of those things could cost you the game. And
Michael Boley, Antonio Pierce never had all the skill in the world, but what they always helped with was the alignment of our incredible front four, figuring out how to get to that quarterback to make our front four effective to give us a chance to win games when we were in those Super Bowl runs as Giant fans. So
it's like you come with me, you stay here. If I tap your right side, you're rushing outside and containing edge. If I tap your left side, you're crashing in and slanting in. That stuff matters. Having people know where they need to go, having all that. Alignment is, especially on defense, alignment is the first step to success. Alignment, assignment, execution. Every time. You need to be aligned. You need to fill the right assignment, or else.
And then you need to execute whatever that assignment that you're filling is.
Exactly. Yeah. Offense is glorified choreography where you need everyone just is in step and everyone does the same thing and you know what you're doing before the play starts. Defense is reaction and we're supposed to be based on what the offense does. So if you aren't aligned correctly to begin with, you almost don't even give yourself a chance.
I think choreography for everyone but the quarterback. That's the only guy that is not necessarily part of the choreography. He is initially, but it's also his job to understand the variables within that choreography and how.
When you say initially, it's like
adjustment
they don't even have a chance if he takes a step the wrong way. That's when you see like a quarterback step the wrong way and then they just fall down on the ball.
Or they walk back because of the offensive line, right?
Like if you step the wrong way and the running back goes to the right and you step the handoff to the left, like even if it's play action, that whole play is dead. But my point being, you're right in the sense of like, all right, quarterbacks have to go through reads. The choreography might be like for the first read, then you got to go to the second read, then you have to make decisions.
Scramble, stuff like that, throw it away. All that
you have to make decisions outside of the choreography.
Right.
And then receivers, you get into like breaking off your route if the quarterback breaks the pocket, stuff like that. But even that's choreographed to an extent based on what the quarterback does,
things like that. Quarterback, that's right.
Yeah, but it becomes reactionary to a point. But defense is all reactionary. Like, you have to react to what you see and then execute. But
the one thing I wanted to say before you go on is the last thing I would say that you spoke about about the fumbles and stuff like that is the special teams in these games. You talk about the Niners. I'm just a Giants fan, so I know I'm painful, but talk about the Niners game against the Giants. The only reason we beat them in Santa Clara back in the day. Kyle Williams. And you ask anybody that lives around the Bay Area where I live now, they all know the name. I can ask any Niner fan, they know the name Kyle Williams, and he had no career after that game. So, at the end of the day, special.
That was 2 fumbled punts, right?
Two fumbles. Yeah, that's right. 2 buffs that game. Yeah, that's right. That's the stuff that you do as the underdog team, as the Giants fan in that game, to beat that team with 10 Pro Bowlers on their defense and what they had. There was just no chance unless. And
to shout out Washington special teams, your boy Luke McCaffrey is a good returner. That Eagles game they won was because he was getting big returns, and also because the punter of the Eagles, who was the kickoff man that game, I don't know if Elliott was a little banged up or whatever, Braden Mann was kicking off, and he wasn't getting the ball in the end zone, and McCaffrey was taking it to the 35, the 40, the 45 almost every time, and that was a high-scoring game, and that was what allowed them to get into good field position and eventually win that game. Was a huge factor.
Yep,
and
that huge return on that last. You're right. That was a huge return on that last drive, I believe.
The whole game they were getting big returns. The whole game. Huge. They were special teams. I don't have the numbers in front of me. That's a little bit harder to look up quickly.
Probably average return of 30 to 40 yards, though. You're saying
starting field position, at least off of kickoff returns. I know that the Eagles forced like 5 turnovers that game, so the overall starting field position is probably a lot closer. But if you look of like in terms of returns, they were getting the ball past the 35 at least 5 different times off returns. Whereas the Eagles were starting at the 30 because they were just booting it into the end zone, with the new kickoff rules.
Who's the kicker on Washington?
Zane Gonzalez.
Zane. See, he's the one that hit off the post, right?
Yeah. So this whole season they've been going through different kickers. Seibert was good, but then got hurt. Zane Gonzalez in there now. He's got a lot of, obviously an off-the-street kind of guy. He, doinked it in. I like the kicking game for the Lions. Like, Jack Fox is a great punter, but he never fucking punts. And then
he's amazing. He got probably the biggest leg in football.
He made the Pro Bowl, and he punted the least at anyone in the NFL.
His average punt is stupid. His hang time is insane.
And then Bates has had a really good rookie year. Almost Brandon Aubrey-esque. So I think the kicking game, they have a little advantage, but at the same time, I don't see the kicking game being that meaningful. If Washington's kicking field goals, they're losing the game.
And the only way that it's really that meaningful is if Zane blows an extra point or blows a gimme.
Yeah. Well, I think that I think the Lions are going to win this game. I think they're going to handle Washington pretty well. I think just like I said, I think Washington's 1 year away. They still need to make some strides defensively. I think Marshawn Lattimore's a little banged up. And I think that they're going to pull away and eventually make the NFC Championship game. But if the Washington is in the game in the fourth quarter with a drive to, go get 7 or go get 3, tie or win the game, that I'm confident that they will do that. So,
scary. That would be scary moments.
Jaden Daniels versus Detroit defense in a 1-score game. I think I'm
all day long. I'm sure Jaden would too. If I said Jaden, it'll be 24-17 in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left, and you'll have 2 timeouts to go down the field and score. Do you want that scenario, or do you want to start the game from scratch? You'd give me that every time.
And if they do that, let's just get way ahead. We're getting way ahead of ourselves.
They're going to go for 2. They're going to go for 2.
Go for 2, right?
You got to go for 2. On the road, you got to.
Yeah, have to. 100%.
I think win the game right then and there.
I think Dan Quinn would do it,
Absolutely. I love that. All right, let's move over to the AFC. We're kind of on an hour here, so we might have to skip the Hotz Corner for you people this week because we got the games coming up, and that's priority.
Well, we still have an hour to the game.
Time now,
so.
But we'll see. We'll see what we got. But let's get to the Texans and the Chiefs game first, and then we'll get to the big boy. But because I got lots of thoughts on the Bills and the Ravens, and I've been sitting on it. So
I like saving that for last.
Yeah, Texans-Chiefs. So spread is the same as the Lions-Commanders game, which is weird in my head because I feel like the Commanders are a little bit closer to the Lions than the Texans are to the Chiefs. They're both -9 from what I see here. So this is one of your quintessential Chiefs games, right? It's just like I said this before when Houston was in the last round. I said the Chargers would have a better chance against the Chiefs. It'd be their 3rd time playing the divisional opponents. That'd be a much better shot. Jim Harbaugh. This Texans team played very well against the Chargers. But their matchup, how they're matching up against the Texans, to me, it doesn't align. And I'm not a fan of the skill position players on the Texans going against, they're keeping Joe Thuney at tackle. A guy like him who's been playing so well at tackle is going to go up against a Danielle Hunter. If he can lock him down ISO and they can force the double if Will Anderson starts getting off, and they can probably chip on that side maybe with the tight end, with Kelsey, whatever. They have Noah Gray as their pass catcher, backup tight end, who's been exceptional this year, so they can maybe leave Kelsey in as more of a blocking guy, or vice versa. Those guys are now becoming more interchangeable than ever over the course of this season. The Chiefs are healthier than they've ever been all season. All their pass catchers are ready. They got Hollywood, they got Nuke, they got the elder statesman, the Justin Watson, and these guys that have been in playoff games who have experience. And then we go to your favorite side of the ball when it comes to the Chiefs, their defense. They are still the same team. They won 15 games this year because their defense did not let anyone score. They didn't score 30 points. John said it last week, people. They didn't score 30 points all fucking year. The only other teams that didn't do that were the Giants until week 17 and or week 16, I guess the Colts or whatever the fuck that was. And then one other team, maybe the Browns or whatever it was. Every team that sucked dick basically didn't score 30 points besides the Chiefs. How's that possible? They have Bolton. They have McDuffie. They have Chris Jones on rest, who's going to be a lightning rod. They have fucking Justin Reed. They have just and John will fill the gaps with the Kalafkis or all these other guys that we can mention that just have been there. They've won 2 Super Bowls. All these guys have the experience. This game isn't too big for them. When you talk about Houston coming into Arrowhead with the weather, I just don't see it. I see a blowout. I see 30-10. I just don't see enough pass catching for Texans. I see Tank Dell being hurt. Diggs being hurt, and they just don't have enough. You put McDuffie on Nico Collins. What do you got left? Joe Mixon? I don't know. Yeah.
I hate to be repetitive, but it is a kind of a similar thing where they'll need some luck. They'll need a big special teams play. 100%. They'll need a tip pick, a crazy fumble. I think one of the most shining things that stands out to me in this game is people might be like, oh, the Texans need to get up early. The Texans need to get up early. We've seen the Texans go up 24-0 against the Chiefs and then lose 51-31. They were up 24-0 in the second quarter against the Chiefs, and they were losing by halftime. That's how crazy Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs can be. You remember that game?
I remember that game.
That was just a couple of years back. Obviously, there was no C.J. Stroud. There was no Joe Mixon. But that's the type of team this Chiefs team is. It's not indicative necessarily of the Texans, but this Chiefs team, and we talk about...
That was the Deshaun Watson team.
Yeah. We talk about how... Yeah, that was a good team. We talk about the Chiefs and like you pointed out, they're just we have this amazing left guard and we're having a little bit of difficulties at left tackle. Let's just throw him at left tackle and see what happens.
Oh, he happens to be an all-pro player everywhere he goes. Shocking.
Yeah. Maybe it won't. Maybe there'll be time that catches up with them. It could be Danielle Hunter this weekend. It could be, you never know. But I do think the Texans are going to need a little help. I think the point spread has to do with the fact that the Chiefs haven't played their full-strength team in almost, 3 weeks now, if not longer. And we just seen the Texans
it's 3 weeks.
The fucking Chargers' ass in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So it's all right, recency bias shows and betting trends, and then the trends set the lines. As much as the handicap set the opening line, the line moves based on where the betting action falls because they want as much action on each side as possible, and then they could just keep the vig of the 10% is what books do. And then also, obviously, as human beings, gamblers are losers. So sports books just
if
print
Chiefs
money.
had played Denver last round and Bills were number 1 seed and the Chiefs had blown out Denver 40-10, this spread would be 15 points.
I don't know, 15, but 10, 11,
maybe it's double digits for sure.
But it's crazy that we go into this this matchup and as much as I'm I think the Chiefs are going to win, I think the Chiefs are going to win, I have that tendency and I have to squash that in my brain to be you're an idiot. Never bet against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Obviously, I don't know if they're going to cover for sure.
Yeah, the money line thing. We're talking, by the way, Sixers, Hotz heads, Dreamers. We're talking money line. We know that the Chiefs historically never cover. They don't cover anything. They couldn't cover a wet paper towel.
Well, in the playoffs, you never know. But also, just saying that. But betting against the Chiefs this has been a Row 26 stand for a long time. Never bet against the Chiefs. It's just a bad. You don't mathematical move.
You don't bet against Michael Jordan. You don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You don't bet against Kobe Bryant. You don't bet against these people.
It's crazy to think Patrick Mahomes didn't make the Pro Bowl this year. Patrick Mahomes, this and that. Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. Not the best quarterback, the best player at any position in football. And he doesn't care. The regular season is just win the game and coast. In the playoffs, if you tell me I need a quarterback to get a drive to win a game, give me him.
That guy.
I need a quarterback down 10 points in the playoffs, give me him. He has a record of down 10 points. It's astronomical. Down 10 points in a game, he's like 15-5. You know, like it's insane. Like numbers that aren't even human.
He's
like,
psycho. When he flips that switch and he gets into his crazy mode, you know what I'm talking about. Where he goes OP and he starts jawing and he starts rushing and he
starts faking injuries. Yeah, exactly.
Faking injuries and shit and freaking out. Everything's a freak out. It's just one big freak out.
Give me Mahomes. Like, I'll tell you this. If they go down 10, 14 points,
slam it.
Live bet the Chiefs
immediately.
Slam it. As soon as you can.
I don't care if it's plus 100. Slam it.
Yeah. They're going to – I love the Chiefs. I think they're a monster team. We talk about their defense all the time. You listed the guys' names. You know, the only name you didn't say was Steve Spagnuolo, and he is a genius. The best defensive coordinator maybe of all time. I mean, obviously, he's got 4 Super Bowl rings as a defensive coordinator. You know, I don't know who else does that.
Super underrated, too, by the way. No one mentions him for these head coaching carousels. It's insane to me.
I do believe he turns down interviews,
at
least over the couple of years.
He was a head coach, I believe. He tried it.
For the Rams. Yeah. With Laurinaitis and Chris Long and all those guys. They had a good defense, too. But they just weren't a good team overall. Yeah. I think just, you know, he couldn't really kind of put it together.
I'm trying to remember their
as a CEO.
Who was their quarterback those years? Weird guy.
I don't know. Maybe Bolger, you know.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think that
maybe
was
Sam Bradford, you know.
That's it. Nice call. That's a good call.
But either way, just like the Laurinaitis, Chris Long, Robert Quinn, those defenses were good, you know.
And Aaron Donald, I'm sure for a little bit. Like incredible careers. Laurinaitis didn't really like end up panning out to it. Robert Quinn's good career.
I mean, Laurinaitis had a pretty fucking good career. He was a stud middle linebacker.
How long was he even a pro?
Long time. He definitely made some Pro Bowls. Led to the NFL in tackles, maybe.
Right? That was James, right? He was
James Laurinaitis from Ohio State. He was a beast.
Yeah, I'm trying to see how long he was a pro though.
When we talk about like green dot guys, he was at 8 years in the NFL.
Solid. Okay, not bad.
Yeah,
that's a good That's a good linebacker years. That's about Patrick Willis's years, I think, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. He had.
If you're really doing the dirty work as a middle linebacker,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, over 100 tackles. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. So I was sliding him. That's a good That's a good linebacker. Yeah.
I
just remember his tats. He had those fucking fire shits coming out of his sleeve. I remember, psycho looking guy.
No, I mean, he was a really, really good player.
A white boy linebacker had its moment in the mid 2000s. You think about?
Like I said, when we're talking about Anzalone, Tranquil, you know what I mean? Like, the white linebacker is one of the few positions where white guys still do well. Even in college, you see it now.
It's not just pure skill and strength. It's also like a brains spot.
Yeah, the green dot guys, and not there's not great green dot middle linebackers who are black. Obviously, Bobby Wagner, the fucking cream of the crop. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like Patrick Willis, another. I just said it.
Yeah, no, but at an advanced age, still to be doing it currently, you know, like
Bobby's a psycho,
super stud. But yeah, I mean, just to circle all the way back, I think the Chiefs have a great team. Their defense is excellent, and they have the best quarterback in the world. And it's going to be a tall task for the Texans. I don't think they have zero chance. But, I mean, like I said, you'd be a fool to bet against the Chiefs.
That's just facts. And then we'll go to the last game of the weekend, the game of the week, Ravens versus Bills in Buffalo, which is tomorrow. So a couple things here. I think the first thing is, actually, I want to leave it with you. Maybe I can get a little bit of influence from you in terms of the way I want to position this opinion. But so I'll leave it to you because I just kicked off the other one. Your thoughts, where you're leaning, how you're feeling, and what do you think about this game, this fucking juggernaut matchup?
When there's like a bet on like a fight that I think is close, I always say bet the underdog. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like, this is one of those take the team that is the plus money side. Bills are plus 1.5 at home. In terms of a gambling perspective,
it's switched. I have -1 Baltimore right now.
Yeah, so the Bills are +1.
Yeah, Bills at home. Bills are home dogs. Yeah.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said sorry, excuse me then. Sorry.
The Bills are +1.5.
Yeah,
I'm saying take the underdog.
Crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, so the Bills are home dogs. Obviously, the Ravens playing well. The Ravens have maybe a better roster overall. But the home team, the underdog, like I said, and I'm not saying the Bills are going to win, but if I had to bet, I'm taking the team that's slightly plus money here because, just mathematically, you don't bet in a vacuum. You bet over time. You know what I mean? Like you want to be a winner over time. Mm-hmm. And in a close game, taking the team that's plus money over taking the team that's minus money is your best bet.
Yep.
That being said, the real difference maker in this matchup is that they have Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry versus
that's killing me. That's the one that's killing me. Yeah.
And James Cook. James Cook, very good player. James Cook is probably 205 pounds. Derrick Henry's 250 pounds.
And they run the same speed.
In the cold, in that weather, it's going to be real nasty to take him down. Being the tackler is always worse than being the tackled.
Yeah.
In cold weather.
Yeah.
They get to deliver the blow. You have to break down so they don't juke you out.
Henry had the best rushing stats in the second half this season by a lot.
I think Saquon was there, but
I'm saying just the second half.
Saquon in the second half had like 1,200 yards or something crazy. But I get what you're saying.
No, yeah, well, I guess, okay, removing Saquon, Henry was still above Saquon for like third quarter, fourth quarter rushing stats. But like,
I don't know if that's true.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's true. I haven't looked, but the amount of times where I'd be looking at Henry on my fantasy team in the first half and he'd have dog shit. And then I'd look at the stats at the end of the game and he'd end up with 135 yards and 2 touchdowns. And I don't know what the fuck happened. He is the second half bruiser. And it sometimes felt like a lot of times. Go ahead.
Saquon had 1,245 rushing yards in the second half.
Not the second half of the season, for the record.
Second half of games.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry had 1,119 yards in the second half.
Damn, John knows his shit. Audited.
But, yeah. And Saquon also played one less game because he didn't play the last week.
True. That's true. But okay, take both guys. Both guys, second half, big problem. Big difference makers.
For the record, third place was 675 yards.
Yeah, I knew that they was. That's one thing I was 100% on. I never said 100%, but that I was 100%. I was like, those two guys are far and away. That's why when you said Saquon, I was like, all right, we'll take Saquon. Like, all right. But because you talk about the idea of what's the difference between this Philly team and the last year's Philly team. What's the difference between this year's Baltimore team and last year's Baltimore team? We just said it. The two guys that bruise you in the third and the fourth quarter when you don't want to tackle anymore, and it's going to be in the link where it's cold in Philly and in Buffalo where it's fucking cold. You had injuries on that Bills defense. It's going to hurt to take down Henry, as we just said. It's going to hurt a lot. And the guy doesn't have, like, ridiculous amounts of miles over the last few weeks. The way they use him, it seems like he's been staying away from injuries and stuff like that. Same with Saquon. Those are the big difference makers that can lead to a Philly versus Baltimore Super Bowl, because those two guys take pressure off of Hotz and take pressure off of Lamar. And I think two rushing quarterbacks who have felt like they've had to rush for a long time in order to get the ball down the field when they were going on their runs, whether it be Lamar when he went to the AFC Championship game or Hotz when he went to the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl. They both probably felt like they were more obliged to really run, and they still will to a capacity. But having that guy behind you who's A1, it's the biggest difference maker, like you just said. So I like what you're saying, but I have one thing. It's the Josh Allen versus the Lamar.
That's funny. I was just about to ask you, like, if you had to start a franchise, which of these two quarterbacks are you taking?
I drafted Lamar in fantasy. I love Lamar. His stats this season are fake. The amount of rushing yards that he had, the 44 touchdowns to whatever it was, like 4 interceptions, something fucking dumb. He should be MVP based on his stats alone and the way. But I wouldn't be mad if like Josh Allen won it, whatever. But Josh Allen is just different, and like I don't know how to put that, but like Josh Allen is another Derrick Henry type of runner too. He'll run you over. He's not running away from you like kind of Lamar does, where his like quick like boop boop boop. Like Lamar's like fucking like he's like what's that game that you used to play in the arcade where he's like you're looking out for all the balls and you're Pac-Man. That's it. Lamar's like boop 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 boop. He's like so calculated the way he runs. He doesn't run over people. He kind of just runs out of bounds. He knows when to slide. He's so nimble. He's a different type of runner. Josh Allen will make you feel him when he runs the ball. It's like,
yeah, well, one of them's like 30 pounds heavier than the other.
Yeah,
one,
Josh Allen's a bruiser. So we're talking back to that cold
Josh
weather.
Allen's like 6'5", 240, and Lamar Jackson's like 6'1", 210, maybe.
Versus like country strong. Also traditional.
I mean, they're both super athletes. Like,
super athletes. The traditional thrower of the football, Nose Flowers on the other side. You talk about the traditional thrower.
Is Zay out? Is Zay officially out again?
I saw doubtful from Schefter.
Okay.
He didn't practice all week. I don't know.
Well, I think I agree. I don't know if this is like the fan in me, maybe stepping out, but this is Row 26. This is the fans podcast. I just think Josh Allen is ready for his moment in the sun. Like, I think he's ready to take that step and beat up. Obviously we've seen him fall short against the Joe Burrows of the world, against the Patrick Mahomes of the world. He's kind of been that guy who loses to the other great quarterback. And I think this year, and look, I love Stephon Diggs. When Stephon Diggs was at Maryland, I was absolutely in shock of how late he went in the draft to the Vikings. I couldn't believe it. He was like the number 1 rated wide receiver coming out of high school, had a good career at Maryland. I was a big Stephon Diggs. I'm like, whoever gets him after the 3rd round, he still wasn't picked. I was like, whoever gets Stephon Diggs is getting a steal. He's a stud wide receiver. But I do believe that moving on from him, and now Josh Allen doesn't feel this pressure that someone needs the ball, and now Shakir.
And it's not just Josh Allen. Brady, the play caller, doesn't feel like he has to call plays for Diggs and be like, yo, get Diggs the ball. Let's get him involved. Bullshit.
Yeah.
No, let's use Ty Johnson and James Cook at the same time.
And to be fair to Brady, it was almost more of a Dorsey thing that Dorsey got fired.
Sure.
And then once Brady came in, it was like almost like they got away from Diggs, and that kind of led to the split and led to the eventual, separation, because I think Joe Brady immediately was like, we'll be better off getting away from forcing Stephon Diggs the ball with Josh Allen because of how much Josh Allen moves around. Let him pick and choose who to throw the ball to. We don't need a superstar. And then you see guys like who have been hurt a lot this year. Curtis Samuel comes out of nowhere and catches big passes and makes big plays.
You saw that bonus bets thing, whatever that was. It was like you get $13,000 in bonus bets for Curtis Samuel if you hit an anytime touchdown for the game last week against Denver. There was it was like fucking insane, and he hit it. He scored.
Yeah. And he was beyond just a touchdown. I saw him make some other good catches in that game.
He's a gadget. He's a gadget.
No, Curtis Samuel's a good player. Ohio State. He's a good addition. So you get Curtis Samuel, you get Mac Hollins, you get Shakir, you get Keon Coleman, you get Amari Cooper. All of a sudden, what was that? 5 guys I just named, or 4? And then you get Dalton Kincaid. Then you get Dawson Knox. Then you get James Cook out of the backfield. Then you get Ty Johnson. That 4th down fucking touchdown from Ty Johnson last week. Unreal throw. Unreal play. Josh Allen was just like, it's 4th and 2. I'm just going to wait as soon as it's almost like Madden when you have a quarterback that can run and you're like, it's 4th down. I'm just going to see what happens real quick. And if there's an immediate lane, I'm going to take it. He went to do that. It wasn't there. He backs up again, tries to run again. It's not there again. Backs up again. And then finds
across his body, Ty Johnson and throws a fucking rope.
It's basically like, all right, let's get away from trying to force somebody the ball so they don't complain to like, let's just let Josh Allen do whatever the fuck he wants. And I think Josh Allen doing whatever the fuck he wants is the best version of Josh Allen. And I think Joe Brady has cultivated that. Like you mentioned, great shout out to get him involved. Joe Brady's coaching, career, if you will, is a very interesting one because obviously had that legendary run at LSU where he has Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and it's just fucking maestroing the best offense in the history of college football, maybe the best team in the history of college football.
Literally.
And then, he goes to the Panthers and falls flat on his face, with Matt Rule, like Matt Rule as a head coach, like this and that.
Matt Rule's so fucking lame,
goes to
bro.
Buffalo and is some sort of offensive assistant. I don't know if it's positionally, whatever. And then Ken Dorsey,
he was the quarterback's coach, I think, and Ken Dorsey was the OC.
And Ken Dorsey Obviously, Miami legend was was the fucking quarterback of those amazing Miami teams in the early 2000s with fucking
McGahee,
superstars.
Clinton Portis.
McGahee, Clinton Portis, and Frank Gore at the same fucking time. Andre Johnson on the defensive side. Ed Reed, fucking Jeremy Shockey, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor. Just like the quarterback with the greatest supporting cast in the history of time, but also like threw a wobbly ass fucking spiral. Was in there because he was smart.
He was the worst. He was the worst. If you talk about that Miami team, he's probably the worst piece on that team.
Easily the worst player at the position, and I think he was in the Heisman running just because of how good the team was around him.
Yeah.
The prototypical player who becomes a coach because he probably had no business being the quarterback on that team, but was probably smart enough to not fuck it up. So I do think Ken Dorsey gets a lot of shit, but I do think Ken Dorsey's smart.
Dilfer-esque.
Ken Dorsey's a smart coach. Like, he deserves to be a coach, but I think he found himself getting too invested in the emotions of players, and Joe Brady came in and kind of said, fuck that. We need to run the ball more, first and foremost. Because that was the problem too. They'd be up in games, and they would be like, "Oh, we gotta make sure Diggs gets his, and and that Josh is doing his thing." And it's like, all right, this year we saw a lot more of James Cook. We saw a lot more of Ty Johnson. They got away from Zach Moss.
Going to in a game what was working. They don't just do things in a game that work. In the past, they did this. They would do things that work and then just do something else. When they're running the ball well, I've seen James Cook this year multiple times had multiple touchdown games. That happened multiple times this year, like 2, 3 touchdowns, 4 touchdown game. I think he even had at one point this year. It was like a crazy game earlier in the year. Like when something's working, they do it over and over until you stop it. And I think that's a great trait for a team. The Chiefs are a similar team like that. If Pacheco's running well, they'll just keep handing the ball to Pacheco. Mahomes is not too proud. He will give the ball to Pacheco 25 times if they're going to get 150 yards rushing. He does not care. If throwing the ball is what the mechanism is, they'll throw the ball 40 times. That's what I feel like the Bills are getting to now.
For example, James Cook had 16 touchdowns just rushing this year, not receiving. And last year he had 2 rushing touchdowns.
There you go. And how many multi-touchdown games did James Cook have? Can you see his game log?
Yeah, I could look that up in a second.
I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say he had 6 multi-touchdowns.
So last year he had 4 receiving touchdowns and 2 rushing, and this year he had 16 rushing and 2 receiving. I'm on the game log right now.
Multi-touchdown games, I'm going to say he had at least 6. That includes receiving, obviously. If any of those games he only had 1 rushing, he had 1 rushing, 1 receiving then. So, I'm going to say he had 6 total multi-touchdown games. That's my guess. Which
he had 4.
4.
But one of them was 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. 4's good though. 4's solid. 4's solid.
Yeah, 4 is great.
I said 6 is the max. That's what I was saying.
6 would have been insane.
It would be insane. So 4 is.
Yeah. He had 1, 2, 3, 4 multi just rushing, and then one of those. And then he had 1 touchdown and 1 receiving touchdown.
That's what I was asking. So he had a 5 multi-touchdown.
No. He had, like I said, he had 1, 2, 3, 4
multi-rushing.
Oh yeah, no, he had 5 total, and then 1
multi-touchdown though total.
Yeah,
rushing, he had 5. He had 5 total multi-touchdown games, right?
Yeah, 5 total, and then one game he had 3 touchdowns with 2 rushing and 1 receiving.
Bro.
And that's going from last year.
Go to it.
And then if I go to the 2023 game logs, probably, I'm sure he might have
had. Probably know those 2 touchdowns happened in 1 game.
Yeah, he had 2 rushing touchdowns and receiving touch. So he had I think he had 1 multi-touchdown game last year, just looking at it quick. So to 1 to 5, and like I said, to go from 6 touchdowns with 4 of them being receiving, 2 rushing, to 18 touchdowns, 16 of them being rushing. Joe Brady was committed to the run game. And honestly, looking back at it, I believe his 1 multi-touchdown game was when Joe Brady had already taken over last year. I'd have to look at the date when that happened.
If I was guessing, man, after week 10.
Yeah, it was like week 15, so I'm assuming that it was
that's Joe Brady for sure, 100%.
Yeah. So I think we're both on the Bills. I mean, like I said, with the money, if you're betting, take the, you could take the 1.5 points, or you could just take the extra. You could take the extra point or 1.5, or you could just take the extra money on the money line. The little plus sign. Some people are addicted to plus signs, but I get it. So
home dogs. That's the last thing I'll say about that. I've been talking about it all the time. Home dogs. Home dogs.
Do you have any questions, or do you want me to go with my leftover?
By the way, this is what I said about the Texans against the Chargers. Home dogs. Same thing. This is exactly what I said. The home dogs thing, it happens.
So do you have any questions, or do you want me to go with my leftover questions from last week? Because we only did like 5 of them.
Let's do your leftover questions. Let's do a quick one here. Let's get into our Hotz corner here. I'm going to throw the music on everyone. Dial in. You can hear the music, right? Just want to be clear. I still can't hear anything, so I'm trusting you. My dog.
Yep, I still got it. All right, so we'll get into the Hotz corner here. What is the most embarrassing time or the worst time you've been caught by your parents doing something?
I was once sitting in the back of my house, so I have like a backyard a little bit, whatever, like a little area to sit. I was hanging out with a girl, and my parents came out literally as I was like going towards her boobs and like going underneath her shirt. And I'm in high school. I'm like 16 years old.
Yeah,
like,
it's always high school or middle school getting caught.
Yeah. So like I was just going up her shirt, and like I didn't get a lot of play in high school. Like I got a little bit here and there, whatever. I was like a sports kid.
You can describe it more later, but
I'll get into it later. Just like getting caught to feel up on a girl, and my dad and my mom, both of them simultaneously walking outside.
Damn. Who is the best starting pitcher of all time?
For me, I would say Sandy Koufax.
All right, that's a good one. What is your Mount Rushmore of films?
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna pass that one so I can think on it for a second.
All right. Here we go. Trivia. 14 players have hit 55 home runs in a season. How many can you name?
Oh, okay. Here we go. All right. 55 home runs. Wow. So Aaron Judge, let's get him out of the way.
Correct.
Has Stanton ever done it?
He has.
Wow. On the Marlins, he did that?
I believe so.
I don't think he ever did on the Yanks.
He definitely did it, though.
Wow. All right. That's 2. McGuire and Sosa. So that's
McGuire and Sosa. Check and check.
Barry, of course.
Check.
55. Man, that's a lot. Did the polar bear ever get 55 plus?
No, sir.
Okay. I'm just thinking of current players first before I start really going back. Obviously I took some obvious. 55 plus. Mickey?
You have 5 right now. Mickey Mantle is not on the list.
Wow.
Let me know when you want some hints.
Yeah. No, you're good. Frank Thomas?
Frank Thomas is a no.
Wow. Okay. Just trying to think of like big ball hitters. I could think of lots of names I want to say, but I don't want to like overguess and be wrong. Like I think about players.
Yeah, you've already got a few wrong answers.
You know what
on
I'm
the
saying?
board.
Like I'm already like I have to be more succinct.
Think about it. Like.
Yeah. Let me really think about it.
I'll give you a hint if you want. Think about it.
No. Let's see. Alex Rodriguez?
A-Rod on the list.
All right. Ken Griffey Jr.?
Ken Griffey Jr. on the list.
Okay.
You've got 7 right now out of 14. You're halfway home.
All right. Albert Pujols? Did he ever hit that many?
No.
Okay. He was the one that was like, I gotta guess him eventually. Like, I gotta say his name, otherwise.
Yeah.
Did Shohei just do it? 55 plus?
No.
He didn't hit that many. Okay. I don't think Trout has ever hit that many. Nah, not that many home runs. He's not that guy.
You're a little modern right now. You're a
little too modern. Yeah, I need some of the more 90s and 2000 steroids guys. I think a little bit. I was thinking of a guy like
even earlier, but yes, some of those, but even earlier.
I was thinking of like a Juan Gonzalez, even like a random name like him, but like I don't think he's ever hit that many.
That last name is right, but not Juan.
Oh, Adrian?
No.
Carlos?
Nope.
What the fuck? I just had three other great players. That's crazy. But you said older players, so.
No, but you should know this one.
Gonzalez. I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna start giving you hints.
Wait. I gotta get some.
You've got a lot of. You got one more wrong
guess.
I know. So you got one more wrong.
I'm naming good home runners. Babe Ruth is another one. I didn't even think I said
Babe
him
Ruth,
right.
there you go. Finally.
All right. Some of these are gonna be tough though. Let me think.
One more.
Teixeira, Mark Teixeira on the Yankees.
No. One more wrong guess. Oh, that was one more wrong guess, so you get a hint.
No.
Who did?
Teixeira never had 55 plus home runs. Can you audit that? Check it.
Okay. You're throwing a challenge flag?
I'm throwing a challenge flag on that he did it on the Texas Rangers.
You don't get another challenge if this one's wrong.
All right.
Mark Teixeira. I'm checking it now. I know that he never did, but I'm checking it for you.
I just want that audit.
He never had more than 43 home runs in a season.
Oh, wow. All right. Did I say Willie Mays yet, by the way?
Willie Mays is wrong, but you haven't said it yet.
Willie
All right.
Mays...
Willie Mays never had 55 home runs.
Oh, he only had 50.
Who did McGwire? Whose record did Mark McGwire break? There's a movie directed by Billy Crystal. He's a Yankee.
This is probably just like pathetic, but I don't know why I can't think of it. I'm blanking hard. It's when you challenge me, it blanks me.
All right, I'll come back to it. I'll give you more hints for that one later. This player hit a bloop single against the Yankees in the World Series.
Oh, wow. Luis Gonzalez. Fuck you.
Luis Gonzalez was a Gonzalez you didn't get. His first name for the Yankee, whose record that McGwire broke, was Roger.
Roger Maris. Jimmy, wait.
Yes, Jimmy's the right
Jimmy
first
Fox.
name.
Jimmy
Yes,
Fox.
Jimmy Fox. Good pull.
There we go. Oh, first name was Hank, not Aaron.
Yes, you're right. Hank is the right first name.
Hank Aaron is
Jewish
obviously.
guy.
Yeah.
Maybe the greatest Jew player of all time.
Hoiberg, like it's like something.
Berg is the right last.
Yeah,
part
something
of it.
Berg. Fuck.
Berg is the right suffix. The prefix is a color.
Oh, Greenberg.
Yeah.
Nice. Good guess. Good clue. Oh, the lefty that played for the
You're right there.
black guy.
Yes.
Good player. Sweet swing. Big guy.
Played against the Yankees. Played with Utley.
Played against the World Series, the Phillies.
Yes.
What's his name? Ryan something.
Yes, Ryan's the right first name. His last name is also could be a first name.
Oh, that's a tough clue. I don't know if I'm gonna get that, John. I gotta think. Give me a second.
His last name.
Give me a clue. Any clue you got?
All right. His last name is the first name of a great stack artist whose last name is long, but he goes by
Howard. That was a
Ryan
decent
Howard.
clue. Decent clue.
Ryan Howard.
I just looked up
you shouldn't need a clue for that one. So
I know. That was a decent clue though.
The last one is the one that I didn't get. I got 13 or 14. The one I didn't get is hard.
I'm proud of myself. I've had a little resurgence at the end here. A little come to.
So I'll even give you the first name, and his name is the reason why people say take a hat. His first name is Hat. Classic 1940s Hack Wilson. You wouldn't have got that. I didn't get that one either.
Yeah, I don't even want to pretend.
Yeah.
By the way, I just looked up some guys that I did name. Which is crazy. Alex Rodriguez had a 54 home run season.
Alex Rodriguez, you got right. He had 55 one year.
Oh, okay. Another guy that I saw here that I named was Polar Bear. He had a 53 home run season.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. Damn. Yeah.
All right. And the last.
A couple of those guys I wouldn't have got without clues from you, like Luis.
We'll talk about it. We'll finish. There's one more.
Let's finish it.
10 basketball players have scored 29,000 points. 10 basketball players have scored 29,000 points. Name them.
Okay. MJ, LeBron, Kobe.
MJ. Hang on. Let me get this. LeBron.
You said
Kobe.
29,000 points?
Yes.
Okay.
Or the top 10 scorers of all time in the history of basketball, either way.
Durant.
Durant, correct.
Kareem. course.
Kareem, correct.
So I have MJ, Kobe, LeBron, Durant, Kareem. That's 5.
Correct.
Wilt. That's 6.
Yeah.
Come
on, who was second forever after Jabbar? You know that.
Oh, Malone. Karl.
Yes, Karl Malone, correct.
That's 7. How many people you said? 10?
Yeah, you got 3 more.
Okay.
You have a chance to clear this one. This is a gettable trivia question. The last 3 are the hardest, but they're not. They're definitely gettable.
Dirk?
Yes. 2 more.
Scoring. T-Mac is on that list or no?
No.
For it's all gonna fall down on my face, I think.
8 out of 10 is good. I think I went 9 for 10 on this one.
Shaq?
No. Both of these players were Sixers at one point.
What a clue. Points. Both of these players were Sixers at this point.
At one point.
At one point. Are they... I don't know, man. That's tough. James Harden?
No. 80s. Sixers in the 80s.
Oh, Julius is on that list? Really?
Yeah, Dr. J.
You're kidding. Wow. Shouts to Dr. J. Fucking underrated as fuck. I would have never guessed that. The other guy's a Philly guy too, you're saying?
Yep.
80s guy, you said?
Yep. Played for the Sixers from 82, 83 to 85, 86. Won a championship. Was finals MVP in 82, 83. Beat the Showtime Lakers, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, Moses?
Yes, Moses Malone.
I don't think Moses is in the top 10 anymore, though. I think I remember something about him getting bumped out. Can you audit that?
Of course, yeah.
Please audit. I'm looking it up too right now. Let me see. All-time leaders.
This was as of a couple weeks ago when I first wrote these questions, so you could be right.
Let me see. Points.
I doubt it, but you could be right.
Yeah, Moses has less
points. Malone is 10th all time, baby. 29,580.
On this list on NBA.com, all-time leaders for points, it says he only has 27,000, John.
I'm on sportsreference.com right now.
I'll send you what I'm looking at. You tell me if this is garbage or not. I'll put it in our comments here. This is the...
Okay. No, I got you. It's NBA and ABA on my list. So
I just sent you the audit, and Moses is number 11.
I said 10 basketball players have scored 29,000 points.
So if it's only the NBA guys, I named everyone. So shouts to me. It's only 8 guys who've got 29,000 plus.
Well, you also said Tracy McGrady. And I said 29,000
points. That was
my
ninth guess. I said I've named the first 8. The last 2 guys on this list, according to only NBA. You said
Tracy McGrady before Dr. J, though.
Yes, but I said Shaq, and he was number 9.
But he also doesn't have 29,000 points.
Right. That's what we're getting at here. The top 10 point scorer versus the 29,000 point scorer for NBA ABA. You didn't say anything about ABA.
I said basketball.
You're killing me right now.
That's like half a challenge. I'll give you that.
Let's be clear here. Let's be clear about what I did from a success perspective. The first 8 guys I did get.
Yeah.
So that's good.
I said that. I was like, that's good. I got 9.
My next guess was Shaq. He was next on the list if we're only talking NBA, but he does not have 29,000 points. If we're doing the 29 ABA NBA, yes, Moses.
If we just did the 9 who got to 29,000 points, you would have went 8 for 9 before you got anything wrong.
Right.
If we were just doing NBA, 29,000 points. You said Tracy. You wouldn't have got Julius Irving without Hintz.
No, there's
He's
only
30,000.
no. If we're just doing NBA, there's only 8 guys that have done it.
So you're saying Irving doesn't have 29,000 in the NBA either?
That's correct. ABA included, he has it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Him and Moses would not be on the list. The top 10 only NBA players of points. The last 2 guys, 9 and 10, are Carmelo and Shaquille O'Neal.
Yep,
Shouts to Moses,
correct.
though. He's number 11, just NBA. What a fucking animal. And your boy, by the way, that you mentioned last pod, Elvin Hayes, number 12.
Yeah, Elvin Hayes is a monster. Yeah, no, that was a good one. That was good. All right, NBA. I should have clarified NBA, ABA. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair report.
And I'm just happy I got the top 8 guys there that were like in the NBA, what I thought you were asking. So, and I guess Shaq, he wasn't the 29,000 point scorer. He was 404 points away.
Yeah, and Carmelo is
like about
711.
Yeah, exactly. Like 800 points away, it looks like. 711. Yeah.
711.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so then we'll go back over real quick.
The films one.
Yeah, back to that.
So, 4 films that I would put up there that I love personally for me. Interstellar, I would put up there for me. I love that movie. I would put up there Saving Private Ryan. I love that movie. I would put up Rush Hour. And then the last one that I would put up would be wow, I'm between 2 right now. I'll put up Garden State. That's a personal favorite of mine.
Wow. All right. I like it. All right, we'll go over them quick. So the first one was the most embarrassing time you can caught by your parents. So what was the resolution? Were they just like, did they pretend they didn't see anything? Did they make the girl leave? How did they react?
No. It was like a quick like scrummage. Like I pulled her short down really quick, and I kind of just looked up at them like really quick. I almost had like a head underneath there in a sense, like going for it. So like, yeah, I like had to like basically pull myself out, pull the shirt down quickly, and I looked over and I go, what? Like it was like an overzealous what for sure. I remember.
Yeah,
that.
like they were in the wrong.
For just coming outside.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
So it was like definitely an overzealous what happened for sure. And they were like, we're going out, so take care of the dog and walk the dog. It was like one of those like.
Oh, so they almost presented you the opportunity. That doesn't even sound bad.
And
was it like, were you like too nervous after that to like follow through, or was it like once they left?
No, it was like one of those. She asked me. She was like, you think they saw us?" And I was just like, "Probably, but they don't care." And I like had to, dismiss it for her sanctity of her safety. But when I talked to my parents later that night, I was like, "Did you see what we were doing?" They were like, "Kinda," but we didn't really notice. Like, kinda. Yeah. My dad looked at me with this face like, "Yeah, bro, I know what the fuck you were doing."
Yeah, obviously.
What are you kidding me? Like, I know what you were doing. Yes.
Yeah, so I have a story that comes to mind. One time, I've been caught a lot, to be fair. I've done a lot of shit, but I actually have 2. I'll try to keep it brief, but one time it was like the end of the school year, maybe freshman year, because I wasn't driving it. I was driving by sophomore year. I have like an early birthday, so it was like must have been freshman year, and. It was me, Guy, and Casey, and we're like, we're just gonna cut school and walk to my house. My mom worked, parents were divorced, my dad lived in Jersey or whatever. So we're just gonna walk back to my house, smoke pot, whatever. And so we're going down. It's not like that close to our high school where I live either. It's probably like a good 45-minute walk, And
you're talking about your old house, like up on the hill there, and like you're walking from south.
Yeah.
You guys are fucking sickos. Okay.
So we were gonna walk, we were having fun, whatever. So we're going, and then my mom must have like had an appointment or something, because she starts driving down Strawtown Road, sees us, picks me up, and leaves them walking, just picks me up and drives me home. And it's just like, what the fuck? You guys are cutting school, this and that, yells at me, blah,
Lays into you, of course.
Yeah. And then still has to go to work, so they just walk. And I basically just get a ride home and don't
you're
have
just
to
waiting for them. You just like let them and they just meet you at the house.
I'm just like packing the bong while they walk there. And so it's almost like I just got a ride. But that was in the moment. My mom was pissed, yelling at me. You know what I mean? Like it was definitely bad. And then another time, I have so many actually now that I'm just going through it. But one time, it was high school. I was selling bud, and I had like a fire like quarter pound that like stunk. And I remember my mom saying something, this and that, and being like, nah, I just like smoked inside. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. And my mom said to me, quote unquote, I'll never forget this. That smells like green pot, like unsmoked pot, like not like you smoked in your room, like a fresh batch, like get it out of my house. And like, I think I just like put it in my trunk and like had someone pick it up. Like
you're carrying weight. Get this?
Yeah, exactly. It smells like green pot was like a crazy quote that stuck with me forever. Like, and I like sold it all. Like, I might have even taken a loss on it. Like, just like got it out immediately. You know, I was like, okay, you win. Smells like green pot was a winning comment. Best starting pitcher of all time. You like Koufax? That's a fun one. Obviously, a shorter.
By the way,
career.
as if green, it needs to be said when you talk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't like. Green pot. It's like you wouldn't say green. You're like, I'm gonna go sit in the grass. I'm not gonna go sit in the green grass. You know what I mean? It's like,
green represented unsmoked.
Right.
Because I said
I
I
was
smoked inside.
I got you. It's just funny the way like parents.
It's with me forever. Like green, like green. Yeah, it smells.
That's
like
what makes
green
it a core memory because the way
the
words don't necessarily all like make sense in a sense, but it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah. All right. No, that was very funny. And then who's the best starting pitcher of all time? You know what, Koufax had a little bit of a short career for me, but as dominant as they come.
Pitch a perfect game in the World Series. How you doing?
I had Nolan Ryan, Pedro Martinez, Roger Clemens, Greg Maddux, and Roy Halladay as my guys. So I'm like, these are the guys.
Roy.
But I like Koufax.
I mean, Koufax had a pretty long career. His record as a starter, okay, 165.
He didn't have a pretty long career.
Yeah, he played from 55 to 66. That's 11 years.
That's not that long compared to those other guys. How many wins? Is he sub 200 wins?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know,
but he has 3 seasons of 25 plus wins.
Yeah, that's what. But it was short.
Yeah,
and
he won the Cy Young 3 times. He won an MVP as a pitcher. He pitched a perfect game in the World Series. He was known to take off Jewish holidays as a Jewish pitcher, which is why I have affinity towards him. Of course, he's from Brooklyn, New York. Born in Brooklyn, New York. He's a New Yorker. Just a legend.
And even among those like 11 years, 2 of them he had 12 starts, 1 16 starts. Like we talk about 300 game winners, he started 397 games his whole career. Like that's a short career for a pitcher.
Short career for sure.
But as dominant as they come when he was on the mound.
300 inning pitched seasons. You talk about crazy WAR. One of the years he went 25-5 with a 1.88 ERA, 10.7 WAR. Fake stats.
Want to hear something crazy? Like he had a short career, obviously dominant. His career ERA was 2.76. If you want to just look at his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, it's like as dominant as it gets. Like 2.76. I haven't looked this up yet. I'm just going to look up Clayton Kershaw's career ERA.
He retired as the best pitcher in baseball, Sandy Koufax. He had a Barry Sanders type of career. He retired as the best.
So Clayton Kershaw is going on his 17th year as a 2.5 ERA. Just like how underrated Clayton Kershaw is in terms of all-time
And he's playing against modern-day steroid guys and like modern-day analytics.
He's pitched, over basically 2 seasons worth of more starts than Sandy Koufax did. 432 starts.
Sandy also
he's
has
one of the
World Series rings, 2 World Series MVPs too. Side note.
Yeah, monster. But I'm just saying he had a shorter career, didn't play as many games, start as many games. But Kershaw, I'm just saying, like, what an underrated career he's had. But 2.5 ERA over 432 starts is crazy. Great poll. We'll keep it moving. Your fucking Mount Rushmore of films is trash as far as I'm concerned. Interstellar. I'll gonna write it down. I will watch it before our next podcast.
Cool.
Because you've talked about it multiple times now. It's Christopher Nolan. I haven't seen it. Timothy Chalamet, Matthew McConaughey. I probably should watch it.
Like 4 scenes. Yeah.
I think it put him on the map though.
Yeah.
But Saving Private Ryan, great movie. I'll give you that one. Rush Hour, funny movie, but one of the best 4 films. I
love that movie.
I even worded it films, not movie. Like films. Like I don't know. I don't know
what you were looking for. I guess a little.
Like I'm looking for like art. Like it's a good movie.
That's why I gave you That's why I went with Garden State as my 4th one because that's more of a indie film.
Garden State is another one I haven't seen in a long time. I love Braff. He's fucking awesome. I think I'm a huge fan.
Scrubs. Natalie Portman's in that too. She's one of the better female actresses.
I watch Scrubs till this day. Like I'll throw on Scrubs. I love Scrubs. Is probably my favorite hybrid between comedy and drama in the history of time. Real quick, I'm gonna do a Scrubs soapbox. There's 2 episodes of Scrubs that are among the best episodes of television of all time. One of them is where they talk, like the intro scene is Dorian doing his inner monologue. Josh Braff, is that his name?
Zach Braff.
Zach Braff, thank you. Zach Braff's inner monologue.
Said it right, by the way, like a second before that, you had his name right, and then you.
I had Braff. I don't think I had Zach, but Dr. Dorian. Yeah. Dr. Dorian does his inner monologue in Scrubs a lot, and his inner monologue was like 1 in 3 of every patient that comes in passes away here, except for giving birth and the emergency room, which is like broken arms. But 1 in 3 patients who check in to the hospital die, and they show him meeting a patient. They show Dr. Turk, who's Donald Faison, and Dr. Elliot Reed, who's the blonde woman. I don't know her actress name. Shout out to her. Meeting her patient. So you assume like the implication is one of them's going to die. And then it ends the episode with all 3 of them dying. And his inner monologue is like, some days are much worse. And then it's like them crashing and like coding. And the song playing is like Leonard Cohen, Hallelujah. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah.
Epic scene.
Like just unbelievable. They're all coding, they're all dying, and it's like powerful. Like, and all the patients are like likable. You know what I mean? Like just like a real powerful, like, and there's comedy in it. You laugh and cry ass episode. And the other one where is Dr. Dorian's like, Perry Cox, his mentor, played by John McKinley, also another all-time like
legend
character to actor pairing, and his brother-in-law is sick with leukemia, and like throughout the whole episode, like it's just like him talking to Dr. Cox, and it's all like everyone's like kind of talking to Dr. Cox, and he's like all irritable because his friend is sick and this and that, and it's like his son's first birthday is happening the same time. And he's like all pissy in a bad mood, and they're like, and Dr. Dorian was the one looking after his brother, like his brother-in-law. And Dr. Dorian was like, hey, I know you're pissed at me right now, but like Jordan, his wife, wants to know if you're going to be there today. And they film it like, oh, it's talking about the birthday. But the whole time it was like the brother-in-law died under Dr. Dorian's care. And he's like in denial, like that stage of grief. And like he's like there, and it literally goes all the way up till they're like at the funeral, and he's like talking to the vision of the brother-in-law still alive, and he's like, you got to forgive him, right? And he looks back at Dr. Dorian, he's like, man, I hate all these little kids are gonna be here. And he's like, where do you think we are right now? And they're like at the funeral for the brother-in-law, who's played by Brendan Fraser.
Wow.
And it's like so powerful. Like fucking, and it's just
really. Zach is really known in Hollywood circles. He's a writer. Like he's definitely a very low key famous guy in Hollywood that writes a lot. That is involved.
He's so talented. The comedy drama, being able to do both. Like
he's had his hands on a lot of different
scene where he's like, do you know where we are right now? And I know it's like a simple line, but like the way he delivers it, and he's like, it's like the realizing line of where they're at the funeral.
So this just goes back to why I love Garden State. It's just about him. So if you don't ever seen the movie, it's about a guy that moves out to California to become an actor, kind of leaves his hometown. He has to come back for his mother's funeral. You find out more details about her death and how that happened. I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody. It's a huge piece of the movie. And, just like coming home and seeing your old friends and the vibes of the movie, even the side characters in that movie are fucking awesome. Like his best friend from home, the guy who makes money off of the silent Velcro and all that shit. Like the side characters in that movie are hilarious. There's drugs in the movie and stuff like that. The guy ends up making so much money and just doesn't buy any furniture for his house. It's just fucking hilarious. Like, he's like, I bought a chair. He's like, where is it? He's like, it's keeping us warm right now. Like, just little quirks, like, You know,
we might need like a spin-off movie podcast. Like this, I love shit like that. That's fucking
for
awesome.
sure. So that one was Affinity. I think the Rush Hour is kind of the weird one, I would say, of the four, because Rush Hour is just your
To be fair, I guess the other three are probably really good. I never seen Interstellar. Garden State I saw a long time ago, but don't really remember as well. But I'm gonna rewatch that before
I have
next
the vinyl
pod,
of Garden State. That one really means a lot to me.
All right, and then for mine, I have the Green Mile, which is another Tom Hanks, Dear Saving Private Ryan, I guess. Like Michael Clark Duncan. Literally the first movie I ever cried at,
Legend,
was the Green Mile. Just unbelievable movie. Hell or High Water. I don't know if you ever saw that.
Never saw
Spectacular movie. It's with Chris Pine, Jeff Bridges.
Chris Pine's Flame On from Fantastic Four.
No, you're thinking of Chris, the guy who plays Captain America. No, Chris Pine is Star Trek.
Look up his face.
Yeah, I think it's Chris
name.
Pine. Handsome guy.
Yeah. Got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
So basically, him and his brother are like bank robbers in modern day, like West Texas, and Jeff Bridges is like the detective trying to hunt them down.
What is this? Hell or High Water?
Hell or High Water. Directed by Taylor Sheridan, who does Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And
we tried Yellowstone. I mean, as soon as they started making horses come on the second episode, we were done.
Yeah. Yellowstone. I don't watch Yellowstone, but just that's like what he's. But he also does Wind River. Was another amazing movie.
Yeah.
With the guy who plays Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, and then he did Sicario.
Oh wow!
Amazing filmmaker.
Amazing. Movie.
Yeah, Taylor Sheridan's amazing. Then he does like
Sicario was up for an Oscar, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Hell or High Water's maybe my favorite movie ever. It's right up there. Great movie. Great dialogue. And then I have Unbreakable.
The Town was another one I was considering, by the way. I love The Town.
Ooh, I like The Town. Then I got Unbreakable. That's my favorite movie. Bruce Willis.
Is that the boxing movie?
No. Bruce Willis. Unbreakable is M. Night Shyamalan. Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson. If you've never seen that, that is an incredible movie. I don't even want to give anything away if you haven't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it.
Don't read too much about it. The twist is insane.
Yeah. I don't even tell. Oh my god.
M. Night's known for his twist, but Unbreakable is a spectacular movie.
I'll leave up.
And then my final four is Gladiator.
Yeah, I love Gladiator too. That's like a Saving Private Ryan type of movie you put up there. Just an incredible best film. Anytime it's on, you can throw it on. Doesn't matter what scene. You already know where you are. Yeah.
Ridley Scott got robbed the best director in that to whoever made Traffic. I forget, but Traffic director won best director that year in the Oscars. But great films. I guess we'll close it out. We talked about the trivia a lot already. I guess we'll do the stand-up bit of the week, and then we'll close it out. We'll shut it down there. Let's see what I got.
What do you got for us, John? Talk to me.
All right. So I'm an organ donor. Any other organ donors in the house tonight? It's weird. I get the question a lot, or I get the comment a lot of like, if you're an organ donor, the doctors are more likely to let you die so they can use your organs. Good. I get to die a hero. One day my mom will be like on someone's TikTok being like, my son's heart is beating in your daughter's chest right now. I'm fine with that. Just speed up the process. But so obviously I got to work through it a little bit, but the good, I like
that one. You know what's funny about that though, just off that joke? I feel like there's so many videos made of like the guy that donated it sitting at the same restaurant as the person he donated it to. And like,
well, it's like their parent. If they donate the organ, they're dead.
Well, I'm saying like they even like a liver, like or kidney transplant, or like something that kept someone alive and like whatever. And it was like whatever. Like someone donated a kidney from a distance, and then they end up showing up at their restaurant for like a birthday or something, and they're like, yeah, this is the guy that donated your kidney.
I feel like it's almost always like when you donate a kidney, that's like to your brother. I feel like what I'm talking about is like when you die, it's like you always say
what they do with your body parts.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of unknown, like, oh, just take my kidney and give it to whoever needs it. Like, I don't know. I don't remember seeing that happen a lot.
Did you watch Squid Games?
I did, yes.
So you know about what they were doing with the bodies and selling.
They're harvesting organs. Yeah.
Maybe think about that and intertwining that into the joke a little bit, since Squid Games is so fucking popular, about what they were doing with harvesting the organs and like. I was just thinking about that. That was the first place my brain went when you said organ donating. I thought about those scenes of like those guys cutting all that shit out of those people.
Yeah, and the one woman who was like shooting people in the head on purpose, so they couldn't do it or whatever. By Squid Game's question, I like the good is a good like punchline. Like the doctors are gonna take my organs and not try to keep me alive. Good, I get to die a hero. Yeah. I think that's a good little.
I thought my life was gonna be worthless, and now I'm a hero.
Now I have a legacy. Yeah.
I thought I was gonna have no legacy. I work a 9 to 5. My mom barely even knows how to spell my name. But you know what? I'm a fucking hero now.
Yeah. Now my heart is beating in the body of a fucking maestro for the fucking Philharmonic or whatever, something like that. But yeah, no, I think it has some legs. I actually had it combined with like, so it was like, I was talking about, so I had the breathalyzer thing in my car. I got a DUI for marijuana, but still they put the alcohol breathalyzer in my car. And, I don't really mind it. It saves me from getting another DUI. It's really not that much besides the money I have to pay per month to keep it in there. But then I thought about it one time, and I'm like, what if there's like a mass shooting in a parking lot? And I'm like trying to run away, and then I'm like, I'm all feeling pressure. I'm fucking up the blow.
You're like fighting random people who are running away, like, yo, get in my car. I need you to start my car. Like, come over here.
No, not even like I can't blow because my alcohol, it just like takes mad long. I gotta wait for it to load up. I gotta wait for it to.
If you're like at a bar and you were drinking and you can't start it, so you need to like go get like.
I think it's funny if it's like, just like, damn, I need fucking 8 seconds for this to load, and then I need another 8 seconds for it to read it, and then fucking by the time boom, I'm dead. At least I'm an organ donor.
You hear someone scream, boom.
Yeah. And I'm trying to blow in it, but I'm nervous, so it's like, and I can't get it right. You know what I mean? And then at least I'm, and then it's like, and then I get shot, and they're like, at least I'm an organ donor. Like anyone else, an organ donor?
That scene as if it happened. I'd be like, I gotta tell you guys what happened to me recently. So
yeah. And
then you get into it. I got a DUI for marijuana. So I have one of those interlock bullshits in my car for alcohol. Make it make sense, whatever.
Yeah.
So long story short, some guy pulled a gun, started shooting up people, and I gotta get out of there. So I start running to my car, and I can't even get the air out of my breath because there's a gun. So this guy's shooting up the parking lot, and I'm like trying to blow into this thing.
They need me to blow for 8 fucking seconds. I can't even fucking blow for 1. I'm fucking nervous. Yeah, something like that. But then I can lead that into the organ donor,
Yeah, that's funny. So now my life's over, but thank God, you know what? I'm an organ donor.
Yeah.
So I'm a fucking
At least somebody else gets to live. And then from the Jersey bit spinoff would be like, obviously we did the go hunting for heroin, and then the salute to service jerseys go hunting for stolen valor and pussy. And then there's guys who wear jerseys from guys on their team who were fucking on the team 10 years ago. Those guys go hunting for change in their couch because they're broke and they can't afford a new jersey. But yeah, so that
imagine being in 2025 playoff game and going and wearing a DeMarco Murray jersey. That's the fucking craziest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Buying a DeMarco Murray Eagles jersey in the first place is a crazy move. But to still wear one in 2025 is absolutely insane. You know who we're talking to. But we got 3 minutes till the game. We'll shut it down. Great episode. A lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to shower and change real quick and go out for this game.
That's it.
I want to sit at the bar.
Heads, dreamers, all our fans out there, we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll be back next week. Saturday looks like it's going to be mostly our day.
I think Saturday at 2:30 will be our new time slot. I love it.
Because the 9 to 5 grind has resumed, and that's where we're at now. So,
Zach, good job!
I got a job!
Like the fucking Dave Chappelle skit.
Yeah. I got the job. But yeah, anyway, enjoy the games, people. Home dogs, watch out for them. And we'll be pulling for our teams, but we'll see what's up. See you next week. And I do want to get into next week, by the way, the Cowboys and what you think of that whole entire coaching thing. And we'll be talking about that next week.
I mean, we'll figure that. Yeah, maybe there'll be news by then. All right, brother.
Yes, sir.
Love you, Schmove. Peace.